Nothing's showing on YouTube yet. I think I'm live. Am I live? Hello. I don't know if I am live or not right now, which is never fun. Let's see. I'm going to open me up over here. Oh, I am live. Oh.
Yay.
Oh. Yay. Hi, guys. I am apparently live. If you watched all of that before of me freaking out whether I am live or not, I am live. It's Sam from Made by Erillant, and I wanted to talk today about bag selling, markets, all of that kind of stuff. I've got Nikki from Resin Melody with me as well. Oh, Barbara's here. Hi, Barbara. That was super awkward. I don't know how many of you guys saw me freaking out. Hopefully not too many. I've got a new streaming software, so I'm trying to learn how to use it. So hopefully it's not too bad. I think there's a slight delay, but I've got it set up so all of your comments show up on the screen as well. So I hope you guys think about this before you type stuff on the internet, but whatever you type is going to be on the videos forever, I think.
Hi, Barbara.
So I'm really excited. So we wanted to talk about markets. I got Nikki on here, first of all, because she finished Thanksgiving early. So to anyone from the US joining us, happy Thanksgiving. Obviously, I'm not from the US, so I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I've never celebrated Thanksgiving. I don't know much about it. Actually, that's a lie. My sister, my stepsister, half sister, she lived in the US for a lot of years. Her kids, so my niece and nephew, are, I guess, considered American. They live in Australia now, but they have American passports. So I guess they're American. And we did do turkey at their house one year. So we kind of did Thanksgiving once. So
Really was that. It's just the food.
But maybe we should start with that. Should we say something that we're thankful for this year? I guess I should probably start with that. So I guess I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for Sophisticated Craft, the community that Jassie's built there, really. I've met so many friends there, and I know I've had people say in the past in comments, like, I don't know if I should comment or message you directly. Please do. Anyone that I've spoken to in those bag communities, you guys are friends to me now. So message me whenever.
Good.
Yes. So I am thankful for you guys and all the friends that I've made through sewing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah, what she said. Ditto.
Ditto.
Ditto. No, really, like, I remember, so I was one of those geeky, nerdy people that DM Sam, like, hey, let's hope this is not weird, but I'm DMing you instead of sticking with comments. Yeah, and here we are in live. This is our second one together. I mean, the first one was a group one with Jassie and Jen as well through Sophisticated Craft Design. So, yeah, it's definitely the bag making community. Oh my goodness, so many supportive people, so many amazing people, from shop owners to peers to customers to everyone. Love it.
Yeah, definitely.
Positivity is amazing. Yeah.
And Nissa's joined us as well. Hi, Nissa. Thank you for joining us. So Barbara's from Melbourne. Yeah. I'm so excited. I am new to the Australian sewing community. I'm new to sewing in general. So actually seeing Aussies on here with me is super exciting for me, to be honest. I've always felt like a bit of an odd duck. So I'm really excited to see Aussies here. But so back to bag making and selling, which is why I guess you guys are here watching me, because I'm sure you're not just here to see me. But I thought I'd invite Nikki on quickly. This was a very last minute decision we decided to do. Obviously, with Thanksgiving, I didn't know how Nikki was going to feel. But so I've been selling now for just over a year. So Oh, Nissa's in air conditioning. I have no air conditioning on at the moment. I mean, we shouldn't even talk to Nikki. Nikki's from Florida, so she understands heat too.
I'm
It's
like, how are
muggy
you
here today,
surviving?
Nikki. Oh, it is bad today, but we've our house, and this is on me. We've just gone on to like solar panels and batteries, and at the same time, I've signed us onto this weird like electricity company. And today, they've decided that if you use power from the grid, they're going to charge you like ridiculous amount. So I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and sweat my butt off. Like that's just what's happening now.
I mean, do what you got to do, but
Yeah. So if you see me reaching for my water bottle more often, that's why I'm dying. But yeah, I got distracted by that air conditioning comment. So the reason I asked Nikki to be here, so I've been selling for about a year now, so I'm still really new to it. But Nikki is even newer. So Nikki has just decided in the last month-ish to start selling. So I thought if I grab Nikki on, there'll be a little bit more banter, a little bit more chatting, and not just me talking to you guys. And let's be honest, every time I've done a live, Nikki has like gone crazy in the comments anyway. So I'm like, I'll just get her on here so you guys can see the reactions of what I have to deal with.
what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
You'll just get a more immediate response rather than the time it takes me to type it out.
Oh, Jassie's here. Hi, Jassie. And
Hi,
Milena's
Jassie.
joined us. Hi.
Hi,
It's
Elena.
like, what, almost 1:00 in the morning in the UK. So thank you for joining us. Oh, how exciting. She can't actually hear us talking right now. So her little girl's just fallen asleep. So she's lip reading. Oh, I'm like, my phone is going crazy at the moment. If you see me looking to the side, I'm not trying to be rude. It's for whatever reason, people are messaging me. And I don't have friends. Like, let's be real here. I don't have friends. People don't message me.
So what you just said was a lie.
Well, all the friends I have are here right now. So like, why is someone messaging me? I don't understand. No, actually, it's super exciting. The people messaging me at the moment. So that's one of the things I'll probably talk about a little bit today. My bags are going into a consignment store. The consignment store is opening next week. I just went in this morning to go see it. And so I posted a photo on my socials. So it's kind of blowing up a little bit. When I say it's blowing up, I've gotten like 2-3 comments and a couple of messages. Like that to me is blowing up. Okay. I'm not used to, whoa, Sam's here. So Barbara's also just said that she's bought the cost calculator this morning. So she's excited to use it. I will touch on the cost calculator. I have a confession to make. I only just downloaded it last night. So I have been involved with Jassie. I've been really lucky. Jassie's had me involved right from the start. And when I say the start, like this is months in the making. Like this bag cost calculator, Jassie and I have been talking about costing for a year and a bit. The calculator's been months in the working, and brainstorming it's been since the beginning of the year, and actually starting it has been months. So I've been involved some of the earlier adaptations and we've been working on it. So I've been doing that. But the actual final one, I only actually looked at it last night. So that's a bit embarrassing, but I know what's happening in it and it looks amazing. I'm super excited. I've been keying things in like, So I'm really excited because the one that we thought was going to be released, I say we, like I have anything to do with it. It's not me. It's all Jasmine. But the one that we thought we were going to release compared to what's come out has changed a fair bit thanks to the testers. The testers of this calculator has been so amazing. They've brought up so many like really cool valid points, and like what's been brought out is like, because Nikki, you've seen one of the first few adaptations too. Like it is leaps and bounds. It's amazing. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, many beta versions, Jassie. There really was. There were so many versions, and it was really crazy to see how far it's come. When we first started talking about costing, and that's something we'll talk about So we may as well start talking about it now, costing.
Yeah.
I know when I first started selling bags, and like you'll see in all of the bag groups like CBM and all of those big ones that people talk about cost times 3. And that's what I started with too. Nikki's already like, no, do not do that. And that's what I was doing. I was doing cost times 3 because that's what everyone says to do. So I would work out roughly how much something would cost times 3 and be like, does that figure sit right? Yeah, that's okay. We'll do it. And that worked good for some of them until I think it was the Travelnizer. I think it actually was the Travelnizer that came out. And I was like, why am I doing this? Because cost times 3 on a Travelnizer meant that I was getting paid like $5 an hour, maybe not even. Because that is, for those of you who haven't done the Travelnizer yet, it's an 8 to 10 hour make. Like, and I think as bag makers, when we compare ourselves to other handmade markets, it's hard because, like candle makers will sit there and know, like, know whatever to candle makers. Like I buy plenty of handmade candles, believe me. But like from my understanding, a candle, a lot of the time is curing time, right? It's sitting there waiting. But like a lot of our time is hands-on sewing. So like a candle maker could have 20 candles curing at the same time. But a bag maker, even if I'm batch sewing, I'm still 5-6 hours of active sewing time. So we need to be compensated for that. So when we're doing cost times 3, that's really not anything. Like I'm not really being compensated for my time. And I remember talking to Jassy about it like a year ago. And back then Jassy's like, no, that's not right. It should be hourly rate. And Jassy, for those of you who don't know, before she was a pattern designer, she was a custom bag maker. She still has customers in Singapore. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jassy, she has people that have waited for over a year for a custom made bag and they will still wait for her. Like that is insane. I'm here quoting like 4 weeks, I'll get it out to you, I promise. And Jassy's like, next year you can have your bag. Like that's how high demand her custom makes are still. So, and she is saying to me, no, Sam, you have to do hourly. So cost is one thing, hourly rate is a different thing. And if something's going to take you so many hours, you need to charge that. So that was something I had to come to terms with. And Jazzy, oh my God, that's embarrassing. Sorry, I called you out. But that was something I had to kind of come to terms with because in my head, and Nikki's said this to me a billion times, okay, in my head, I'm like, I would not pay that money as what I wanted to charge. And just like Nikki says this to me all the time, I'm not my customer. Like, even though I make the stuff that I make and I love what I make, which is why I make them, I am not my customer. And I have to remember that because my customers can't sew, or maybe they can, I don't know. But they're not the type that are sitting there going, I'm going to spend 10 hours sewing, whereas I would. So, right. Yeah, I think that's like a huge difference, right?
Yeah, basically. So, yes, I have just recently, within the past several weeks, decided to start selling my bags, but I have been sewing and selling doll clothes for artist made ball jointed dolls for 15 18 years. I think 2006 is when I started. So I've kind of been through that process that it takes you through with yeah, I am not necessarily my target market. I have a specific skill, I have a specific design style, I have a specific look that I go for, whether it's with the doll clothes, whether it's with bags, and all of that plays into why people want to purchase from me. And it's kind of the same thing with you, right? Like you have a very specific style and somebody may sew clothes And so they're sitting at their sewing machine for 8-10 hours sewing something, but it's not a bag.
Yeah, definitely. And I do get that in some ways because I've actually bought Christmas clothes for the kids this year from another handmade business because I'm like, do you know what? I'm not going to get out of my way to pull my overlocker out. I hate my overlocker. Do you guys call it? It's not overlocker in the US, is it? It's
Serger.
serger. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going out of my way to pull that out, thread it, hope that it works, cut stretchy fabric. Like, no, I'm just not doing it. I just cannot do it. It's not, no. So I do get it. I do get it.
Yeah.
It's not fun. But yeah, pricing was a huge thing for me going in. And I know for a lot of people that are just starting, pricing is a hard thing because it's something that you need to get out of your head for. Like Melina talked about that a little bit in some of her tester posts you might have seen on the calculator, the sophisticated bag cost calculator. Because it's very easy for us to sit in our own heads and go, would I pay this kind of money for it? But it's not about you. And it's not about, like, I think one of the things that sits with me the most, and I know I talk about the Travelnizer a lot, but the Travelnizer is something that blows my mind genuinely. So when I sold my first Travelnizer for $180. And I remember Jassy sitting there going, that's not right, Sam. That's not enough. And I'm like, Jassy, no one is paying $180 for this bag. This is right. I know my market, right? How many of us say, I know my market, I know my geography, right? The first person that bought the Travelnizer from me bought 3. At $180 a pop, she bought 3. I misquoted postage. That's a whole different ball game. So I ended up losing money on that, but that's on me. I am a non-confrontational person. Jassy did say to me, go back to them and ask them to pay the excess postage. And I'm like, It's just, I don't like awkward conversations. So I was just like, I'll just wear it. But I've learned my lesson. So it was a $50 lesson that I learned, but it's a lesson I've learned.
I think anyone who sells online or sells to ship has learned that lesson.
Yeah. And you learn it once, right? Once and you're done.
Yep.
So, yeah. And the Travelnizer, like at 180, and like the reason why I thought 180 was so much money, right, is first of all, if I did cost times 3 for the Travelnizer, it was, I don't remember how much that one was, but it was probably like $100 or something. I don't know. My hourly rate worked out to be nothing. It was nothing. And I was like, I'm already doubling it. So if I do cost times 3 plus extra, that's profit, right? No, it was not. I was underchanging myself, but I liked sewing them and it's a lesson learned. But the reason why I thought 180 was already too much is, for those who don't know the Travelnizer, I assume most of you know it, but it's a hanging bag. So it's one of those toiletry bags that you hang behind your door. It opens up, there's 4 compartments, but you can buy bags like that off Temu, off, like, we've got Kmart here in Australia. Target's expensive for us in Australia. So I know Target's like a cheaper one for you guys, but Target's expensive. Kmart's our cheap one. So you can probably buy something like that off Temu for like $20, $30. Kmart, you're probably paying $50. I know they're not like handcrafted, obviously. They're probably boring and plain, but it does the same thing. So in my mind, I'm like, why would someone pay 4 times the price for this bag? And obviously I was wrong because people did buy it. And later on, when I was reflecting on it and I was thinking about it, do you know what? One of the first toiletries bag I bought for traveling didn't even have 4 compartments. It was one of those hanging ones. It only had 2 compartments. It was, I don't know if you guys have Kate Spade in the US. So it was a Kate Spade toiletries bag. And I paid $220 for it. And I was 18 at the time. So I'm like, I was my target market. I did used to pay those prices. Like, and Kate Spade at the time, I don't know if it is a brand name now, but like it's still just it's a bag it's not really a brand name. Like I wouldn't go around and be like, oh, look at me and my Kate Spade bag. And I happily paid $220 for it because it was black and it had a giant pink bow and I liked those colors. And I had disposable income back then before kids.
That part too.
Yeah. So like that made me think, okay, I was wrong. And since I sold my first Travelnizer, my price has gone up. Obviously, the market's changed around the world. I mean, we all know we're not talking politics, but economy is not great everywhere. And I realized if I'm spending 10 hours in front of a sewing machine, that's 10 hours I'm not spending with my kids. The costs have already gone up. Like if I don't increase my costs because I'm so worried about getting that one sale, is it worth my time? Or am I better off just making 20 tiny little pouches and be done with it? You know? So I went back and looked at what Jassy was saying, cost plus hours, and then worked it out that way. And I was like, do you know what? Jassy has a point. Maybe Jassy's not full of it. She might actually have some reasoning behind here. Yeah, Vara saying quality will always win over cheap if you find the right customer base. And that's exactly right, isn't it? Like I've just realized I have a thing here that says made by Erillant and it's blocking this. So I'm getting rid of this quickly because it's kind of hiding the words a little bit. But yeah, that's so totally right. It's quality, and that's where I've gotten really lucky. I think if you look at my socials, I don't actually have that many followers. I haven't looked lately, but I think I maybe have like 500 followers on Facebook and Instagram each. But the customers that I have and the followers that I have, they're all really loyal, beautiful people. I've been really lucky with customers. I've somehow drawn customers that are exactly like me. But in some ways, that's been a choice for me. My sister runs her own business as well. She does a teeth whitening and mouth guard business. Before I started Bag, she asked me to help her with social media marketing. For those of you who don't know, which I don't know how many of you do know me actually that well, but before, in a whole different lifetime, I was a real estate agent, a real estate sales agent. So marketing has always been what I do. My mum's a real estate sales agent. My dad used to be a custom golf club maker. He was #1 golf club maker in the world once upon a time. Before that, he was the Far East marketing coordinator for a German dental company. So like marketing has just been a part of my life, really. So my sister asked me to help her with marketing for hers, and she hated my marketing. She's like, Sam, you're too wordy. I'm like, no, really? You think I would talk too much? Never. But that was one thing that I did right from the start with mine, because I wanted to draw people that were like me. So I never hid who I was online. I never changed how I talk. So how I talk on my social media posts is how I talk in real life. It's how I talk in my comments. And I think because of that, I've drawn out people that are really similar to me. And because of that, it makes it so much easier, especially when we're talking custom makes too, because we're all choosing things. And I'm like, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And that's what I've had to work with. So Barbara's saying social media is really hard. It is. Social media is really hard. I've spoken to Nikki about this. I think I've gotten lucky, really.
No, I'm laughing. Okay, so you talk about your background. My background is in multimedia and web design. I've done social media marketing for companies. I have marketing. I've been a marketing director for a manufacturing company. I've done the marketing. I know how to do social media marketing. I'm terrible at it for my own business.
Yeah.
Explain. But what you see is true though, and we'll get to the tips in just a second. I just want to say authenticity draws authenticity. So you are authentic in your messaging. You are authentic in how you speak. You don't change. You are exactly
Sorry, I was laughing at Angela.
Sorry. Hi, Angela.
Yeah, I was like, I know that family name, but I don't know a Michael.
But no, it's true. You're right. So you're authentic, and you're going to draw out other authentic people, and you're gonna authenticity is drawn to authenticity. So as long as you're authentic, you're gonna find the people who are also authentic. And for me, that's also core for whether it's my own business, my own company, or if I'm working for somebody else, I have to be able to be authentic.
Definitely. Just in case anyone thought I was rolling my eyes while Nikki was talking, my eyes are really dry at the moment. So I'm like desperately trying to like do weird stuff. So I'm not rolling my eyes at her, please. Oh, you'd know if I was rolling my eyes at you. I would point it out. I'd be like, excuse me, everyone, shut up. Don't listen to her. But yeah, social media marketing. So one of the biggest tips I will say is, I've lost that word. Consistency.
Yeah,
Consistency. So I went to Scotland in May, June, I want to say. I can't remember now. Yeah, May.
Something like
And I knew I was going to Scotland. So for the month that I was going away, I didn't post at all, obviously. And then after I came back, I was racing to do Supernova. So for another 3 weeks, I didn't post because I just had too much going on. I was like, I don't want new business, to be honest. Horrible thing to say when you're in business, right? Like I should have just planned my schedule better instead of I don't want new business. But before I went to Scotland, I was posting daily. Every single day I did one post. And I don't know how many of you guys have this. I don't know if this is actually a useful tool, but Facebook has Business Suite. So with Facebook Business Suite, it automatically posts to both Facebook and Instagram. So when I say I do one post a day, it goes to Facebook and Instagram. I've recently started on TikTok, which makes me feel like I'm pretending to be young. And to be honest, I'm not so keen on TikTok. I've had a few people try to tell me like, give it a shot. And it's not that I don't think it's good. It's just, I feel like I'm too old for it. I don't understand it. Like even Instagram, I feel like sometimes I'm like, but maybe that's, it could just be my personality talking. Cause to me, Facebook is wordier. I'm a wordy person, obviously. So I like Facebook because I can talk and there's photos. So I try to post a day on Facebook and Instagram, and it does take time. It took me, because I took that big long gap, it took me like a month and a half, 2 months before I started getting the engagement back up again. The engagement doesn't necessarily lead to sales straight away. I don't pay for Facebook marketing. My sister did for a while with her teeth whitening business, and I found that it doesn't really work. For me anyway, it's never seemed to generate business. It brings out the scammers. So they turn around and tell you, oh, we've gotten you this much business. No, you haven't. You've gotten me nothing. Yeah, Barbara, scheduling. I need to start doing that. I don't schedule posts. I've told Nikki this. So Nikki kind of knows my schedule a little bit. So I wake up when the kids wake up and I lie in bed until my brain wakes up. And I don't let myself get out of bed until I do my business post. So Nikki sees me do a Facebook post on my business page and she's like, Sam's awake. Don't even lie. I know you do that too.
I actually don't. But it is a really good key indicator if anybody wants to know when Sam's up.
Yeah. Look at if I've done my Facebook post yet. And so that's like something that I've done now. The reason why I don't schedule posts is, to be honest, I tried scheduling posts, and unless I am super organized, which most of the time I'm not, I try to post things of like, this is what I've just made. Yes, not just made yesterday, but this is what I've just made and is out the door. So I can't schedule a week in advance because to me, it's not coming up. I know some businesses are quite, and I'm not trying to, I hope this doesn't come across as me saying this is wrong. But I don't, I try not to post about like, oh, what fun things are we doing today? What like, so I'm not doing those kind of engagement posts, but everything I post is strictly about my bags and what I'm doing today, whether it's a sewing thing, a bag thing, because people who follow my page, my business page, they're following me for my bags. So it's really well and good to say like, oh, I just want to generate engagement, but I don't think that engagement necessarily leads to business, if that makes sense. So
I've also found I struggle with scheduling posts because it's not authentic for me.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. I'm a last minute person.
but what's funny is so you're in Australia, I'm in the US, and we tend to post at similar times. Because I try to post before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm more successful than others, where like I will literally be falling asleep at my cutting table, like with my phone in my hand, trying to do a post. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to bed and I'll do this tomorrow.
Aren't you worried though, posting before bed? Like, what if your post reach? Yeah, like, because to me, if I post in the morning before I get out of bed, then like people have a whole day to see it and message me.
So yeah, I don't really sleep. So
Yeah, that's true. I do know that.
so if people message me at 2 a.m., my 3, 4 a.m., I'll see it. It's only, within a couple hours. It's not a big deal. But but I also play around, and this is something that everyone kind of figures out for themselves, right? So you figured out that posting first thing in the morning is beneficial to your business.
Yeah.
For me, posting first thing in the morning, it is not beneficial to my business. I actually get much less traction, much less engagement if I post first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I played around a lot with it over the past several years, just trying to figure out, when are my followers online? When are people engaging with me? When can I, expect to see some activity, whatever that activity consists of. And so that is definitely very individualized based
Yeah.
on your specific audience.
Definitely. Yeah, that's true. We've got a few comments from Barbara and Nissa, and yes, I so agree. Sewing is so much more fun than photographing, posting, and social media. I have to admit, I've got a couple of comments or messages on my phone that I'm supposed to be dealing with, and I'm like, I'll deal with you later, because, and I do this a lot. Not a lot. I don't want to say I like ghost people a lot, but sometimes mentally you just can't deal with it, right? Like I'd rather be sewing than dealing with that right now. And photographing is a huge thing. I'm really glad Nissa brought that up as well, because photos are such a huge part of social media. And I've noticed a huge difference. And I know Jassy, I don't know if she's still there. She's not spoken for a while, so maybe she's disappeared. Jassy doesn't fully agree with this, but Photo Room has changed everything. Is it Photo? It is Photo Room. Yeah, Photo Room has changed everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
unequivocally, like, 1,000,000% yes.
Yeah, Jassy prefers natural photos, and surprisingly, it's not just Jassy. So I'm striking for an Australian fabric company at the moment, Inklings. Well, I'm not striking for Inklings. I'm striking for their sister company, Fizzgig. She's very adamant as well. Natural photos, so outdoors, natural light. And I agree, outdoor natural light is beautiful and it's lovely. But when you're running a business, it's really hard to do that.
I'm sorry, running a business and a work at home mom of toddlers.
Yeah, it's really hard. And so I'm not going to lie, I waste a lot of time on Photo Room, but I don't waste as much time taking photos. So a lot of the time now, so when I do a custom make, I immediately take a photo of the bag to send to the customers. When I say I don't worry about the backdrop, that's not completely true. I do like get rid of all my scraps so it doesn't look too messy first. We're all bag makers. We know how messy we are. And then I snap a quick photo. I'm like, this is your bag. Hope you like it. I'm going to post it off tomorrow. And then most of the time, this is done at like 9, 10 o'clock at night. So I don't have obviously natural light. I don't have time to do anything. So I then quickly use that photo that I've taken for the customer. I chuck it into photo room. This is a personal preference, and I know everyone's different. I don't like super fake photo room photos. And I know some of you have seen some of my photos. I obviously did not take one of my bags into a dark, danky cave to take a photo of it in a cave. But I still try to make it look as realistic as possible. And that's one of the things with Photo Room. If you download Photo Room and you're using Photo Room, don't just stick to, oh yeah, I'll just choose one of these presets that they've given me. You have to actually take time to choose and play. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say sometimes it takes me like 5-10 minutes on Photo Room per photo, because you need to make sure it fits perfectly, because each bag that you design, you make, like, I don't even know what bags I've got behind me right now. Like this guy here. If I were to do a Photo Room photo for it right now, I can almost guarantee you AI Photo Room would have given me that bag on a pink couch, white drapes or something. That's what they would have given me.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work for that. Or it's not going to work for my vision of that bag. My vision of that bag is that bag should be sitting on a rock like it's, being presented. It's a little Lion King. So then I'll have to go in and I have to type those settings to make sure that's what I'm getting, because that's part of your marketing. It's getting all of that right. So the photos are annoying, but it's so necessary when it comes to doing it. Barbara's talking about suck at doing videos rather actually make the bag. I agree with natural light, but not always can you get the right settings. And that's so true. Australia here, you would know, Barbara, like our lighting can literally go from like, this is way too bright, you're hurting my eyes, to that's too dark and it's not working. So and shadowing. How often are you and your phone in the, like your shadow of your phone in the photo? It happens to me so often. And I'm like at these weird distorted angles trying to get these photos. It is hard. It's a lot of practice. It's a lot of attempting to slowly take your time. Photo Room is one thing that and I'm not affiliated with them, me talking this, they're not paying me, which is really annoying. You should pay me, Photo Room. But that's one of the reasons why I like Photo Room, and I pay for it, even though it's an added cost, because it does take a lot of that stress off of trying to get those perfect photos. My house is, Jassy will say that my house is beautiful and I've got plenty of beautiful backdrops. But I don't like it. I don't think I've got enough backdrops. There's only certain places I can work at certain times of the day. And luckily I know them now, but that's something that you have to take into account when you're doing photos. And sometimes when you're doing custom makes, that's not something that you have the ability to do, because I can't really say to a customer, oh, it's raining today and I really want to take a photo of it. So can I send this to you 3 days later?
Well, and you talk about editing photos. Let me tell you, I also use Photoshop Express. So I will take a photo, pop it into Photoshop Express, adjust the color temperature, because usually it's a little bit too yellow. So I'll adjust it to be a little bit more blue. Then I'll put it into Photo Room, do my edits in Photo Room, and then bring it back into Photoshop Express to do fine tuning edits. So like I showed you photos of some bags that I had recently made that I did with like a black brick wall in the background. I actually popped that back into Photoshop Express, blurred out the wall a little bit, added a vignette, adjusted the temperature of the wall itself. Like, so I'm like way over and above just using Photo Room. But if I had to rely on natural photos, no way. It wouldn't happen.
No. Yeah, exactly.
No. But videos, however, CapCut is amazing. And you can actually turn your photos into video.
Yes. I just started using CapCut. I don't know if anyone's seen any of my packing videos. That is, let me tell you, that's a huge tip on social media, actually. I have gotten so much engagement. I've sold a few bags purely because of those packing videos. And when you use CapCut, it's literally a 1 minute film. I've got these stands. Obviously, I've got camera mounts, but I've got this stand that goes directly over my table. So it just films something on my table. I pack my bag first. So I pack my bag and then I slowly take things out and then I put it into CapCut and I do a reverse. So the end video looks like I'm packing the bag, but I'm actually taking stuff out in real life. The reason I do it is because packing a bag is actually a lot more fiddly, I think, than taking stuff out. So it looks like I'm putting things in, but I'm actually taking it out. So it looks smoother. It's easier to film. And it's 1 minute. It literally takes 1 minute. The editing takes another 2 minutes. So 3 minutes and you've got a video and it looks most of the time looks quite professional if you've got the lighting right. That's the big thing, lighting. And Barbara, CapCut is free. Barbara literally just said the cost of some of the media app software out of budget. It is CapCut, right? That's what, yeah.
Yep. CapCut is free. And if you're using the app, there is a way to go into the settings. So by default, it turns on like an end card
anything to say
that
made
advertises CapCut. Yeah. You can delete that manually. Yes, it is an app and it's also a website. Yeah. So they have a web version and a mobile app. And through the mobile app, if you connect it to your TikTok, you can upload a video to TikTok and download it without the CapCut watermark.
Yeah. And it's so quick. It's so easy. It's free. And I don't know if any of you saw one of my Zaria Noir makes, which was the Maleficent one. I sold that 3 times over. And I say 3 times over because I sold the one I made. Someone asked me to make a second one. And then someone asked me to make a third, but I didn't actually have any more fabric. So I could have sold it 3 times over. I sold it twice, purely because of that video. So I had posted it. Why is someone calling me? I don't know who you are. Someone's trying to call me. I don't know who they are, so they don't get an answer. But so I've posted it. I posted photos of the bag before, and I thought the bag's beautiful. I thought my photos were great, and I had no takers, 0 takers. And then I filmed that little packing video, and then as soon as I filmed it, it was sold just like that. Like I want to say within half an hour. My sister then messaged me and said, "Oh, wow, that bag fits so much. I didn't expect that from the photos." And I think that's something that sometimes us as bag makers forget because we're so used to dealing with bags. We're so used to talking about slip pockets, zip pockets, all of this like magnetic snaps. Layman's don't understand what we're talking about. Or maybe they do understand, but they can't visualize it. So, yeah.
That's even like the peony. When I told you that, oh my God, it fits, or I think I posted that it fits my Kindle, and you were like, wait, what? It fits a Kindle?
Yeah. And it's things like that, right? Like you don't think about like what kind of stuff you make. My biggest one was I did a packing video for the Pandora Allures, these guys behind me. As soon as that packing video went up, I sold 3. So 3 of them straight away. And they're expensive. So sorry, I shouldn't call my own bags expensive, should I? But they're like one of the most expensive makes I sell is my Pandora Allures. And I sold 3 straight away because when you look at it, like that doesn't look like a huge bag, but I can fit a whole day's worth of stuff in there for my toddlers, like not just me. So definitely, Nessa, do videos. Not all the time. Videos on Facebook especially hit differently than posts. So when I said before that I do a post a day, my videos don't count towards that post a day. Okay, so do videos, yes, but do not let them replace your post a day if you're going to be doing post a day. Videos, they sometimes go through reels, they sometimes come through as a post, but the videos never come up as often as posts do. That's something that I didn't mention before when we were talking about posts. Always have a photo. Don't just post words. No one reads words, even though I'm wordy. No one reads just words. You have to have a photo. Or I try to always keep it business related, me related. Just always have a photo, some sort of photo. It doesn't have to be a lot. But yes, you need a photo. My biggest market is online. So my biggest thing is online. I do spend some money on marketing sometimes, but I choose how I spend my money. So at the moment, my biggest generator has been from a Facebook group. So there's a Facebook group that I'm part of that is Aussie Disney fans. And that's not the name of the group, but I'm just, yeah, it's a group for Disney fans. And so they're literally my target market, right? Because what my bags are, sorry, I'm like trying to readjust to get comfy. What my target market is adult geeks. So I call my makes geek chic. So it's literally, it annoys me because so many people at markets come up and like, oh, this is a cute little kid's bag. It's not for kids, it's for adults. But anyway, I get that was way too aggressive, but that's how it is, right? Like it's very easy for people that aren't my style to think, oh, this is a kid's bag. It's not. It's an adult bag. It's for adults who are geeks, and they still want to embrace that inner child, right? And so I found this group, and it's exactly my target market. And one day they said, hey, we are looking to generate extra revenue. So we're opening up advertising. You can pay this much money to advertise for a month or whatever. And I did it. I jumped on it. I said, yep, I'll give it a try. And that has blown, like that was my first start to really my online presence and getting me the core group of people I needed. So I know we're talking about spending money and a lot of people don't have the budget, but sometimes I think we need to like look at what's worth spending. And to me, that was the best $50. It was $50. That was the best $50 I made. I've done it again this year. This year I signed up for 3 months and I think they asked for $100 and I'm allowed to post once a week, but I made that $100 back within the first hour of my first post. So it was worth it. It still is worth it. And I think that's what it is. It's knowing your target market so well that when an opportunity arises for you to reach that target market, take it. So that's my biggest one, I think. We wanted to talk a little bit about markets. I know that's how I draw you guys in, and we're 47 minutes in. And I haven't talked about a market yet. Because Nikki has applied for 2 markets too. She's about to do her first markets, hopefully.
Hopefully. I got waitlisted for the first one, so waiting to hear back about the second one.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, quickly, we'll just do this first because Nissa has just asked, how did we find your niche? Did you know from the start what you wanted to make or sell, and did it take a little while to work it out? For me, I was very clear right from the start. That's why my business name is Made by Erillant. So even my business name was based off what I wanted to make. I could be headstrong sometimes, I think. So I didn't even know if there was a market for it. I know that obviously there's like Loungefly and all those people out there that do it. And so I wasn't creating a new market as such. I was just disrupting it a little bit, I guess. I don't even know if I've disrupted it. They wouldn't even feel me at all. But it's nice to say I'm disrupting them. But for me, it was a very easy progression. So I started bag making for myself, and all the fabric I was naturally buying was stuff that I liked. So I bought a lot of Disney fabric. I bought a lot of Lord of the Rings, a lot of Harry Potter, because that's what I liked. And then, so because those were the fabrics I was buying for myself, I was like, what can I do with it? When I first started and I knew I was going to be doing markets and I was selling, I bought a lot of florals because I thought that's what would sell in the real world. And thank God they all sold because I don't have to look at them anymore. No offense to anyone who likes florals, but I am not a floral person. I love colors, but floral is not me. So I bought all that fabric to kind of appeal to a broader market. And there is a beauty in a broad market because it's safe. but it's kind of like, do I go there? Do I not go there? And I just decided this is what I want to do, so I'm gonna do it. And I named myself. So Erillant was my elf hunter name from Lord of the Rings Online. So that's why I'm made by Erillant, because if I weren't made by Sam, there's too many Sams in the world. I mean, if you Google Sam Harris, I won't even be on there. There's a political theologist from the US. There's a First Nations supermodel who's Sam Harris. There is, I think, a soap actress, Sam Harris, in the US. So I'm nowhere in there. If you see any gorgeous Sam Harris, it's not me, it's someone else. Barbara's just asked about copyright. It is. It's a huge thing that I am scared of. Like, I'm not going to lie. I do worry about it. My thing is, and I know this probably isn't the politically correct answer. It's probably not right. Definitely don't listen to me as if it's advice. This is purely my experience. Is I'm buying this fabric from other shops, from other local small shops as well. So there's obviously people who do it. It's probably not the right thing. I do understand that. I do appreciate that. I try to buy stuff that is all designed and printed and made by other local individuals. So from the pattern designed to the fabric printed. So I'm supporting other small businesses that have used likeness. So I know it's not right. And I know one day I will probably get a knock on the door. If I get a knock on the door, I have to stop. So, and that's a decision I've had to make. I have started trying to move away from like in your face, this is what this is, to a more like subtle kind of way to do it. But I think at the end of the day, like you see people out there with crickets and is that how you say it? Cricket, like those machines that make like cups and they stick on the vinyls onto it. And they do like this kind of stuff all the time. Doesn't make it right. Not saying that it's right, but it's a market out there and people do it. So I just take the risk and take the chance, to be honest, is what I've decided to do. Because I think at the end of the day, if someone turned around and said, I can't do this anymore, I don't know realistically if I would want to keep selling anymore. Because if I'm not sewing what I love, I don't know if I want to sell. And I say that because right now I'm really burnt out, to be honest. Like Nikki and I were talking about this before we came on. I've been sewing straight for 4 or 5 weeks now till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning some nights. And I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. If I'm not sewing prints that I love and bag styles that I love, I would not put myself through this. Like, you can't even pay me $100 an hour to do this. I'm sorry. Like, that sounds really like, oh, she thinks she can earn $100 an hour. I don't. But if I'm not doing something I love, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So, and thank you, Barb. Oh, I got quite gorgeous. This is why I love coming live. Just throw it out there and fish for a compliment.
The compliments are showing. Yeah, I mean, and my style is like, on one hand, our interests are very aligned, but I also like I have a wall hanging of all my vinyls, and so like if I look that way, it's because I'm looking at my prints, and it's anime, horror, anime. Not really horror, but like suspense, witchy, uh that kind of stuff. Bit more gothic, darker. As the same thing, like I have to love what I'm making. I have to love what I'm working with.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I completely get you, Barbara. It scared me a lot as well when I first heard about it, especially like you'll see in CBM, creative bag making, and some of those bigger bag groups, they really shut you down really quickly if you say you're doing anything with a license, or, oh, you're not licensed and you're doing it. But before I started sewing, I'm a cloth nappy mum. I don't know why it took me so long to get that out. And one of the companies that I was obsessed with, they did a lot of licensed stuff. They had a lot of licensed prints, but they weren't like the cloth nappies that you see like work from home makers do. They weren't handmade ones. They were still made in China or wherever they were made. I don't know where they were made. And they were sold in small batches, and they were huge. But the way that this was done was, I think the owner's partner actually drew these. So they weren't like, oh, I went on and screenshotted this movie and then put it on. It was hand drawn, but to the likeness. Anyway, they got done for copyright. But when they got done for copyright, what had to happen was they got a letter. It was a cease and desist. And they had to immediately dump or stock. So that's kind of the risk that I'm taking, is if I get found or if they come at me. Oh my God, now I'm on internet live saying it. They're going to come for me. Then obviously I will stop straight away. If I've been told to stop, I will stop straight away. Will I lose money? Maybe, because I do have like a lot of fabrics here, but it's not going to be something that makes me sad because I still have the fabrics and I can still make stuff for myself. so that's the kind of, the risk that I take. And yeah, the horror stories are there, definitely. I'm definitely someone that, like, if I get told, here's your warning, that's it, I listen to it and I'm gone. Like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to press my luck. I'm done. So that's kind of where I'm at with doing that. And I know it's a worry. I do have other stuff that I do. Like, that's where Nikki was saying, like, our tastes are kind of similar. Like, we both like weird, quirky things. I don't have the print on me right now. I should go grab it. But there's a gorgeous print that Inklings did that I'm obsessed with. I don't think you have it. I think I've told you about it. It's called Got Milk. I'm actually going to grab it because I love this. Nikki, you talk to everyone.
Yeah, the other thing that I wanted to mention about fan art, so that's kind of this whole genre, right, on the copyright, is some studios are okay with fan art. So it's also knowing the studio that owns it. Yeah, the famous, using those famous numbers, names. Yeah.
I
so
never
that's
use
where,
names.
You'll see alternate titles for things.
And you can kind of, if you buy fabric from fabric shops like that print it, like, so obviously I use a lot of local fabric shops, you will see that none of them name it as the character names. They name it something different. So I tend to use those names that they use as well. So I'm just like, okay, that's the name. But look at this. So this is my style. So when we're not talking geeks, I like the weird, quirky stuff. So that one's all folded up and ugly. But look at how cute it is. It's a chocolate cow drinking chocolate milk. It just makes me happy. But yeah, I do a lot of that stuff. The only weirdly, I know I said I don't do florals. I'm gonna call out someone now, but I do one floral, and there is an artist, far north Queensland in Australia, Shanna Trees. She does florals. She hand draws them. They're all watercolorings and they're stunning. And I have all of her florals. If she draws it, I'm buying it. Like, I love it. So if you see a floral print by me that I've ever done a bag from, it's probably Shanna Trees. I'm like, I cannot talk today. But yeah, so that covers that scary side. We've talked legal side. I can't believe we had to talk legal. No, it was a really good question, and it's important to talk about. Yeah, cut it. That never happened.
No, but there's things like Has Been Hotel is kind of this quirky anime, darker. It's weird, but they actively encourage fan art.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard thing. Like, it's really, because sometimes it's hard to understand the difference between fan art and not. And most of the stuff I try to do fan art. So like, I try to go that it's hand drawn. So I'm supporting more than just, the fabric company. I'm supporting the person who originally designed that seamless, and to try and push that through, right? Back to markets. We are going to talk about markets finally, because I think the markets are really important, because to me that kind of comes back to the pricing as well. So Last week I did a market. That's what prompted me to do the live, was my market last weekend. Kind of crazy to think that was only a week ago. I feel like so much has happened this week. Like, that's not even a week ago. That was last Saturday. So, but so I posted a video in Sophisticated Craft Designs on the Facebook page. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people had like really amazing things to say about the setup. So thank you so much. But that made me think, like, maybe I should come on and talk about it a little bit more. I don't do a lot of markets. I don't know if that's surprising to some people or not, but that is the second market I've done this year. So I did Supernova in June, which is our big like Comic-Con kind of event in Sydney. And then that one was my Christmas market that I just did. I've not done any more markets than that. I know there's people that do markets weekly. And the reason I haven't is because of, I know like what we talk about geography a lot when we talk about pricing before, because obviously right now Sophisticated just released their bag cost calculator. I know I talk about it a lot, and this isn't a video about that, so I don't want people to think like, no, that's what I'm talking about. But it's just interesting to see, because you see a lot of comments in the testers posts about, oh, but in my location, in my geography, these prices won't work. This just doesn't work because of my location. And I get that. I do understand that, because where I live, on the Central Coast in Australia. So for those of you who don't know, the Central Coast, we're in between Sydney and Newcastle. So we're not a city. I think now we're called a city. I think we've recently decided we're a city. I think recently we've been allowed to build higher than 11 stories. So maybe we are a city now. I don't know. But so yeah, so we're traditionally, we've been a lower cost area. It was, people used to live in Sydney, they would retire to the Central Coast, and people who can't afford to live in Sydney, couldn't afford to live in Newcastle, started moving to the Central Coast. So we're not a high income area. We're not a low income area. We're not a high income area. And it was hard. Selling at our markets are hard because people can't afford, I don't want to say people can't afford, because people can afford to do what they want to do. But things are obviously expensive. And when you've got Kmart and those kind of cheap shops around us, that's what we found. Like, that's what I found for markets. So I've always been a bit scared of markets, because I can't see why people would buy our bags. Like this one, you guys saw this bag. I think most of you probably know what design that is. Like a water bottle bag like that. I sell these guys for, I have to check the tag. I don't know. My sister priced them for me. I sell that for $60. Kmart has exactly that pattern. Obviously not. I hope they've not taken that designer's pattern and sent it to China to reproduce, but they've got one that looks exactly the same at Kmart, and it's $10. Actually, the other day I walked past, it was in the clearance rack for $2. So I will never be able to compete against that. And I can never even attempt to try to compete against that. But a lot of my local market would probably buy from that, right? Because it's available and it does the same thing. Why am I paying so much money? And so that's why I came up with these little guys for my local markets. My local markets, these sell like hotcakes. And when I say sell like hotcakes, I know you guys saw my setup. If you did see my setup, I had one table just dedicated to those pouches, because I was like, I need to try and make my store fee back. My store fee was $100 that day. And I don't know how true this is, but from what I've read from other bag Facebook pages, a lot of people talk about 3 times store fee. So you want to make back whatever your store fee was, you want to make 3 times that. I made $800, 800 and something by the end of the day. So I made 8 times store fee. When I packed up, I had made 500. So 5 times store fee. I should be really excited by that. I know I don't sound excited, but I think I've started to get a little bit like, why am I not making more money? No. The problem with when you saw my setup, how much stock I have, the more stock you have, I think the more unrealistic you get with how much money you think you're supposed to make. But of that $500, I sold 2 proper bags. So I sold 1 clutch, and I sold one of my Zaria refreshers. Both of them, surprisingly, maybe it's not surprising, both of them sold to other store holders. So it was other makers that would appreciate this is how much this costs. So they bought those. Everyone else bought these little guys, these little $10 pouches. So which, you know, I'm trying to do the maths in my head. I can't work backwards right now, but I made almost $400 from $10 pouches. So I really shouldn't complain because that made my store fee back. But that's something that we consider. That's what I think is important to consider when we talk about geography. So it's not about I'm going to reduce the price of this guy to meet my $2 market, but I'm going to offer these guys that I can still sell at a price that I'm happy with. So I think that's where the geography question comes in. And the thing is, like I said before, I ended up making $800 from that market. So there's another $300 unaccounted compared to what I say when that market ended. And that was 2 bags. So I had 2 people come through my market. Both of them looked at bags, and one was a $150 bag. One was actually it's more than $300. One was a $210 bag and one was a $150 bag. Both of them looked at it, they liked them, they took photos, and then they left. So I was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. They then messaged me afterwards. So I don't know if they went home and they Googled or they thought about it, but sometimes those bigger purchases people need to think about. Like, I don't know about you, but I mean, I have in the past walked in and bought a giant TV without thinking about it. But most of the time you think about it, right? You research, you go, hey, should I do this? Should I do this? Like this new software that I've got now running this live on, Nikki will attest to this. We've been talking about, oh, should I get this subscription for 3 months? So I think that's something to bear in mind when you do a market as well. It's important to have your expensive big makes. I think your expensive big makes, I will always have them. I have mine up high, so you can see them. You can still grab them if you want to, but they draw attention. And then I have my cheap, I shouldn't say cheap, but my lower cost ones right at the front where people can touch and feel, and to try and encourage buying and spending with my cheaper items. I then have my medium ones there. So I have a huge range of like $40, $50 bags. Weirdly, they don't sell for me. I don't know why. My mid-range bags, or I know they're not really my mid-range. They're probably like my lower end bags. I don't, they sell online, but in person, I seem to either sell my really cheap stuff or my really expensive stuff. So the mid-range is great to be there to bulk up my stock, but it seems to be people are either just, I'm going to buy something little to support you and say I've supported a handmade business, or they fall in love with your style and they fall in love with your stuff. So like the $150 handbag I sold, the lady came in, she touched it, she looked at it for ages, and I made that bag April last year. So that bag has gone to, last year I did a lot of in-person markets. So that bag went to every single market I ever did. It's been on my, actually it's not on my website, weirdly enough. Maybe that's why I've not sold it. But I've never had any interest in it. It's a super quirky, super cute bag. It's got like little geckos and orchids. It's beautiful. I love it. And this lady saw it. She loved it. She took photos of it. And when I delivered it to her, because she didn't live far from me, so I'm like, I'll just deliver. Don't come to my mess of a house. When I delivered it, she's like, I have never seen a bag that screamed me so much. And I think that's something that, to me, I need a reminder of. Like, I'm not selling $2 bags in Kmart that I'm producing for the mass. I am making one-of-a-kind items that when you see it, you're like, this is me. I have to have this. So, and I think that's where that pricing goes. And that's where that bag cost calculator really works well as well, because sometimes, and I'm not going to lie, I may have put a slight price increase on one of my Pandora Allures because I don't want to part with it. And I know I shouldn't do that because I've put my emotion into play. I've done that on opposite spectrums as well. There was a bag, Nikki knows about this bag. I hated every second of making that bag. It's not the pattern designer's fault. I'm not going to call them out because, you know, it's not their fault. I think it was just me. But oh my God, anything that could go wrong with that bag went wrong. I hated it so much. When it came to pricing, I priced it. It was a $210 backpack. And I priced it using the calculator. I priced it, well, one of the earlier indentations, like I've admitted before, I haven't used the newest one yet, but used the calculator. I did the costs. I did the time. I got my sister involved. This is what it's come up with. What do you think? It's $210. She's like, yeah, I think that's right. That's right. I'm like, okay, cool. The minute someone touched it and looked at it, if you like it, you can have it for $180. I just dropped my price like that because I hated that bag. I just wanted it gone. Looking at it made me sad.
Sometimes emotional pricing is a necessity, but for the most part, take the emotion out.
Yeah, take the emotion out. My sister could not kick me out of my store quick enough. She was like, go away, get out. I was like, I hate this bag. I hate this bag. But that's why, like, calculators are so good, because I think I would never call myself a creative person. Maybe now I need to rethink it. But I think us as creatives, we are quite emotional, especially when it's our own things, right? Like we sit there and we're like, I love this. I hate this. I whatever. And one thing that I've found the calculator works really well for me, obviously taking that emotion out. But like, I'm a people pleaser. I'm very quick to be like, oh yeah, you can have this cheaper. That's fine. You can have this. If someone like gives me a compliment. But now that I know with that calculator how much my cost is exactly and how much my hourly rate is, if I discount it, I'm pretty much discounting my rate. I'm discounting my time. So that's time I could be spending with my kids. Like my kids are 2 and 4. Like I am missing quality time with them. Like my kids have said to me, Mummy, don't work today. Mummy, please don't sew. Mummy, can we go do this? Mummy, can we not go into your sewing room? You know, like that's heartbreaking. And like Jassy can attest to this. She's got a daughter, and like anyone who's a parent, like, you know how quickly kids grow up. And I'm like, I'm missing parts of them growing up because I'm trying to make money, which is obviously an adult necessity. But like, if I discount my stuff, I'm discounting my time with them. Like I'm saying, I would rather this reduced amount, and it's still better than spending time with my kids. It's not. Like they frustrate me and they annoy me sometimes, but like I don't want to miss that time with them, you know? Kian has a girlfriend at the moment, so I'm not really happy with him. But he recently told me the other night, oh, Frankie's my true love, Mummy, not you. And I'm like, don't need you anymore. No, I need you. Please love me. Please love me. But like that's kind of what it is, right? So when I've started doing this bag cost calculator, and I know it's just launched for most of you guys, I've been privileged enough to use it for a few months, or a version of it for the last few months. So ever since that's come out and I've started using like these kind of versions, it's been easier for me to kind of, because when someone is trying to haggle you, they're not saying your bag's not worth it, right? Like if someone comes by and they say like, I don't know, I'm grabbing a bag. Like this guy I've got priced at $60. So when someone comes over and they're like, oh, would you sell it for 55? They're not saying your bag's not worth $60. It could be, there's different mentalities, right? There's some people that just like to haggle. There's some people that literally have $55 left in their wallet. I got caught with one who was obviously someone who just liked to haggle at Supernova. It was closing time. They came up. I had a laptop bag there that was priced at $180. They're like, if I give you, I only have $150 left in my wallet. If I give you that, will you sell it? No, I really can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it at 150. Okay. What if I do 170? You just told me you had $150 left in your wallet. Where's this extra $20 coming from? Like, Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of funny. And like in the past, I might have, if it wasn't a laptop bag and if I didn't know how much I had spent in that, I probably would have been like, yeah, you know what, you can have it. So I'm glad I didn't. But it's kind of like the trying to work out where things are. So like one of the newest things I've been able to do is, so someone would be like, okay, this is $60. So $60 doesn't include the strap. If you want the strap, it's $70. They're like, oh, I don't have $70. Will you do 65? Okay, do you know what? I can't do 65 on this, but I have this one, which is a similar use bag. The strap is built in. It does a similar function and it's 60. Would this be something that you would consider? And what I found most of the time is, and I say most of the time, it's probably worked 80, 90% of the time, is they would either buy the original bag that they liked at full price or they would go for the cheaper option. So it's about setting boundaries, right? Like we try to teach our kids boundaries. We teach us, and we don't know boundaries. I don't know boundaries, I feel like. And that's what it is. Like when people are haggling, they're trying to push your boundaries to see how far you're willing to go. And so if you stand tall and you believe in your pricing because you know how much it's worth, people will understand it. And what's the worst they're going to say? The worst they're going to say is, no, I'm not paying that. Bye. And you've lost a sale. And is that the worst case in the world? At the moment, in the moment, yes. You're sitting there like, oh, I've just lost $55. I could have had 55 if I didn't stick out for that $5, right? But like I said before, I had a bag that sold a year and a half after I made it. Like the right person will come along and they will buy it and they will buy it at the full price. So it's just sticking to your worth and knowing your worth. Obviously, I'm not sitting there going, well, I think I'm worth $2,000. This is Louis Vuitton right now, But
one thing that I want to touch on, because I think Barbara asked a really good question about a gift with purchase for loyal customers. So there's a gift with purchase just in general, right? So you have maybe one of your higher ticket items, in your case, the Travelnizer or Pandora Lure.
Yeah.
Do you include a matching pouch? Do you include a matching wrist strap or keychain made out of leftovers? And do you do that for first customer or do you do that for returning loyal customers?
I don't tend to. And I hope none of my customers are listening to this right now. But it really depends. A lot of the time it depends on the interactions I've had with them. It depends on a lot of factors. So recently I've gifted out. I don't tend to gift a lot. The reason being is I've recently learnt my value, my cost. It used to be very easy for me to gift these little guys because I know how much they cost me to make. They cost me nothing. Well, not nothing, but like they don't cost a lot. It's literally a little bit of fabric, a zipper, and a zipper pull. So it doesn't cost a lot to make. And I used to be super easy at just throwing them out. Like, here's a gift, here's a gift, here's a gift. But then from the flip side, and this is what my partner Charlie said to me, as a flip side from a customer point of view, right? Like I just spent $100 with this lady and this lady's just given me a $10 pouch for free. So why can't she just give me a 10% discount? I would rather a 10% discount, which is kind of like, it's kind of true. Like I'm like, yeah, I would rather a 10% discount instead of your silly little pouch that I won't use. People are appreciative, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, like there's two sides of that token, right? Because people don't see it as, oh, it only cost you a couple of cents or a couple of dollars, whatever it was. It's a $10 item. So I think that's something, perceived value. And I think that's something that we talk about with scraps as well. Like it's very easy to say, I saw a post earlier today where someone said, oh, I sell these bags for like $15 or whatever. I can't remember what post it was, what bag it was. And then someone's like, that's not worth any time. Like, and they're like, oh, but I just make it from scraps. Scraps is still material. Scraps is still fabric. So a lot of my card holders are made from scraps, but it still costs something. Yes, I've got a giant scrap bin over there that's full, but it's still worth something. So even though it's scraps, it's still worth something. So I think that's something like we need to get in mind when we're doing business, because no one's paid for that. You've paid for that. So scraps is still material. Scraps is still something that you will use, you know? So I think it's important to remember that. In terms of gifting, I do gift. Recently, I had a lady who ordered a Travelnizer. After her Travelnizer, she then ordered like 35, 40, I don't know, of these pouches. But she specifically said these pouches were for 4 different people. So she's grouped her friends together. So she's grouped 3 people that never heard of me and got their orders from them, brought them all to me to combine it. So she would save postage, right? Or they would all save postage because it's all sent in one lot. So it benefited her. But I just gave her an extra little one just to say, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to organize it. So it's not coming to them from a business standpoint. It's coming from a personal standpoint. Do you know what I mean? Is there a difference there? Or is that just like, I come from an Asian background, in case it's not obvious. So to me, it's like, we're very like, you know, a thank you type. Yeah.
Well, I think so. I know, Barbara, I think you had mentioned that you had just gotten the cost calculator. And so you'll start seeing that once you start filling in all of your information, that your time is absolutely worth money. And more often than not, when you are giving away those little freebies, you're giving away your time.
Yeah.
Because those offcuts, those scraps, the less than $1 in materials, that has a very concrete financial impact. Like, we know out of our pocket, this is how much it costs. But like Sam had mentioned earlier, that's time away from kids. That's time away from family, time away from loved ones. And I know, like, when we look at like a single item, oh, maybe it only takes 10 minutes. Maybe it only takes 15 minutes. But when you start multiplying that by the total number that you're giving away, it has to be compensated somewhere. So then do you increase the cost of your bags to provide a complimentary item? Right? So you have a $150 bag. Do you now sell it for $175 and include a complimentary item?
Yeah. And I think like one of the things that we have to be careful with as well, right? Like if we start saying, oh, when you buy this bag, I'll give you a matching whatever for free. We need to be really careful that people then don't put 2 different values, so that you don't have someone come back and be like, okay, I don't want this pouch. Can I just buy this? And are you going to discount me? Like, that's something we have to be really careful of, because some people will think like that. The other person I gave a free gift to was, and I have to admit this live on air now, I stuffed up recently. I made an item for someone. I made a passport wallet, a custom make, posted off. They loved it. It was all great. The day they were traveling to Japan, they sent me a message from the airport. The top stitching came undone. So after I pulled the stitching out and tied it off, my knot didn't tie properly or whatever. Super small mistakes, super easy to fix. So I straight up said to them, look, I'm so sorry. It's on me. Send it back to me. Obviously, I'll cover postage and I'll fix it. I'll send it back to you. To be honest, I've lost money on that sale. It's a $50 item. She paid the first lot of postage, but the return post was $10 for her to post it back to me. Then another $10 for me to send it back. So that's already $20 in postage that I had to add on. And then I added a little pouch in there just as a thank you, because some people wouldn't tell you when something went wrong. They just went, oh, okay, I'm not buying from this person again. So to me, I wanted to show that like I am appreciative. I'm really happy that you gave me another chance, that you're willing to let me fix it. So I fixed it. I added that in. I said, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. This is not the quality of work I sent out. Thank you for letting me fix it, giving me a chance to fix it. And she really appreciated it. She sent me a message yesterday and she's like, you know, that little pouch that you sent me, is that those pouches on your website? I'm like, yes, it is. She's posted an order. She's posted an order this morning of those pouches. So like, that wasn't what I was hoping for, but Like that kind of happens sometimes. So like I do understand sometimes why it's good to give gifts and things like that. Loyal customers, what I have done for some of them is I've offered discounts. I don't offer it very often, but I do offer discounts sometimes. So I have customers that are constant repeat. Um, and I've offered them free upgrades. So when I talk about free upgrades, I'm talking about like from a standard zipper pull to a fancier zipper pull. I've offered, sometimes I comp postage. I do comp postage a fair bit. That's a me problem. Because to me, I hate postage. I am a person who hates paying postage. So I hate paying postage full stop, let alone someone coming back and saying, oh, by the way, I quoted you wrong on postage. You need to give me more money. So I comp postage a fair bit. That's something that I just do. To me, maybe it's not good business, but I think it's good PR, I guess, is the right one. It's just, I don't think it's, yeah, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. So that's what I do. And so yeah, I don't tend to gift things. I do discounts. I don't discount a lot. I do multi-buy discounts, especially with these little guys, obviously, and that's something that has drawn a lot of business for me, particularly online, because obviously like these are $10 postage in Australia. If I posted this is going to cost me $10 to post. I can actually post 16 of these in that $10 post. But how many people are buying 16 of these little pouches? But ever since I started offering multi-buy discounts on them, people are buying 10 at a time, 15 at a time, because they're like, divide that postage across 10. It makes it worthwhile. So I do multi-buy discounts, but I don't do gifts very often because I do.
I'm still blown away by postage costs around the world. Like, no, seriously, because the little pouches that you have, and that's actually, postage is something that I've had to adjust with Resin Melody because of the shift into larger, heavier, bulkier items. Is I used to offer free shipping across the board and a $10 flat rate international shipping, regardless of location. So that would be like you would order from me and pay $10 shipping to get from the US to Australia.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Now with bags, I've had to adjust that, right? So I now have a flat rate $30 international shipping for bags that are bigger, bulkier. But even still, like $30 to ship isn't that bad,
yeah,
in my opinion. But those little bags would cost me like $5 at most to ship across the country. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. $10 international. So I had, because of my pricing structure with the doll stuff and because they're so lightweight, I have a postage amount built into my pricing. Because I was not getting multi-item purchases. Like my average order volume was fairly low. So I had to build it into my pricing. And so I just adjusted my international pricing to include whatever that domestic allotment was, plus the $10 equaled out an average of what that international postage was. So,
that makes sense. And Jassie's just brought up a really cool thing with custom bag making as well, is having your options, your base pricing, and then your add-ons too. That's definitely something I've done a few times, especially I don't know if anyone's seen, I had like a peony recently that I made 5 for this lady. And my bad, I didn't charge her extra. I'll show you guys what I was talking about. So it's these little magnets. So I've got these little magnets. I don't know how well you can see it. But like she had these little magnets added on. So they're not cheap. And at the time I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, you're ordering 5. I'll just do it. Shouldn't have put that into the bag cost calculator. I should not have used the calculator on that because it's been 2 weeks since I delivered that order and I'm still sitting here like, Sam. But I do the base, and the personalization and customization is definitely something. So For me, a lot of what I obviously retail, it's different, like what I make on tester bags and whatever that I put up for retail. But again, I'm bringing this bag over because it's the closest to me. Like if I, sorry, that's Padfoot. Charlie, my partner, just came home and he didn't realize it was Charlie, so he's having a little heart attack. Padfoot, it's fine. It's fine. Sorry.
No, he disagrees.
Yeah, he's like, no, it is not fine.
No.
But I don't know how well you can see it. So these are like my standard zippers. So there's nothing wrong with them. It's just a standard little zipper. So with these kind of bags, these are one of my base bags, right? You get one zipper and you get a standard zipper. If you wanted a fancier zipper, I have my fancy zipper upgrades. So that's something I communicate in a message. And most of my bags come with one fancy zipper. I call it fancy zippers. I don't know what else to call them. I call them fancy. And so if you get a fancy zipper, you get one. Well, most of my bags come with one. And then I do say, look, I can give you more character zippers or more fancy zippers if you'd like. Otherwise, this is what is standard. If you want to upgrade, we can do upgrades and we do options. But this is how much this costs. So that's something that we do. Weirdly, I also have a base minus. So I know Jassy doesn't talk about this a lot. Jassy and I had this conversation recently. She's not happy with me because the first refresh I sold it including the strap. And Jassy's like, no, strap is an add-on. Strap is an add-on. But I did it another way. I actually did straps included in bags and then minus if you take the strap away. Jassy's like, no. That's not how you do it. Those are add-ons. You don't take costs away. So that's something to bear in mind and think about as well, because I hate straps. Let me tell you, I hate straps. Straps are the most, when you use that bag cost calculator, if anyone gets it and you try using it, maybe it's just me. Straps cost the most. Straps are the most costing thing, apart from labor, obviously. Maybe not the most, but when you think about a strap, right, you've got a tri-glide, you've got 2 swivel hooks, and then you've got webbing. None of those things are cheap. They're expensive. Like, Nikki's like, no, shut up, Sam.
Like, really? I actually agree with your cost reduction.
Yeah. I've done it for a few. So like, what have I offered on? Oh, recently I offered it on one of my laptop bags. So because Barbara has to go. We'll see you next time, Barbara, but we'll be here talking. But one of my recently I've just quoted on a laptop bag. We're waiting on fabric to come in. But the lady had bought a tote from me, and with that tote, she got an add-on strap. An add-on crossbody strap. And then she's recently asked to order a laptop bag. My laptop bags come with a crossbody strap. And I actually said to her, you've already got a strap that I've made you. It's going to be the same color because you just want black and gold anyway. So it's the same strap. Do you really want a second strap? Or if you don't, I'm happy to take $10 off the price because that's how much they cost me and we'll be done with it. And she was like, yeah, no, that's cool. That's really awesome. She then added another bag because now she had an extra $10. So an extra $10 that she saved there meant she could spend another $50. But yeah, see, Nissa gets me. Straps cost $10 a bag. See, maybe you guys have it good in the US and your straps don't cost as much. Straps are expensive.
I admittedly need to put them through the cost calculator. But yeah, it all depends on your hardware costs. I know you and I have had that conversation before too, that your hardware costs are by comparison quite high as compared to me. And I think even Jassy, which I know Jassy's having a heart attack about this whole like cost reduction strategy. But we had a conversation recently about how hardware is such a significant cost. I'm like, really? Not according to, I'm like, I don't understand. That's not coming up for me in the calculator.
Oh, it is, yeah. And like, I don't know, maybe I do a lot of fancier stuff as well. Like, I've recently started trying to shop in the US. There's a few hardware shops and fabric shops in the US at the moment that are they're trying hard to get my money. I'm telling you, Nikki, seriously. I am you've seen one of them.
Well,
I've sent
I
you the link
know.
to one of them, and I am sitting there. I have my bag in one of those shops has been full for so long, and the only thing stopping me at the moment is postage. So I haven't converted it to US to Australian dollars from US yet because I'm too scared to. But there is a shopping trolley that has a couple of rolls of vinyl and like some zipper pulls sitting there with my name on it. It's $80 plus $130 in postage. So I'm trying to get over that.
How?
Yeah, it is insane.
How?
It's crazy. Yeah.
I-
So I don't know if like I'm looking, I don't know, like and I know and I get this in some ways because this is something that like Jassy has to say sometimes with sophisticated suppliers. Like if there is an excess postage, you will be refunded. But that's still, I still have to understand that there
Yeah.
might not be. So I might have to cough up with $130 US postage.
Well, and that's just it. Even if there's a refund, you still have to front the cost.
Yeah. So it's a scary thing. And when I mean, right now supplies, there's not as much room for refunds anymore because Jassy's gone and negotiated a better deal with UPS, and so I don't get my free money back anymore. It used to be, I mean, I get a much better deal now, so I'm much happier now. Like I think the last I looked, I could buy like a 10-kilo package right now from Sophisticated Supplies, and it's $50 US shipping.
That's
And
fantastic.
I know, right? But I've had a couple of orders before Jassy got this UPS deal, and it was $90 US shipping for a 5-kilo package, and then I would get a refund, and I felt like I was getting free money. Like, let me tell you, I know it was $90, and then I would get like she's refunded me like there's been a couple of orders where I think she's refunded me like 50, $60, and I'm sitting there like, woo, free money, yay!
I remember it had to have been about a year ago, right?
Yeah.
You had gotten a refund, and then it was like 2 days later, once it got picked up or something, she sent you more money.
I was like, woo, money on money.
Oh, wow.
So like I no longer get that high anymore, Jassy. So like maybe next time when I put an order in, can you just like do an add-on Sam cost and give me a refund? Don't do that, please don't do that. Oh, there's something exciting about a refund here. Right? Hi, darling. Darlene's just joined in as well. Sorry, darling. You've come in at a weird time. I'm slightly losing my mind a little bit. I'm asking Jassy to charge me more in shipping so I can get a refund. Oh, yeah, Jassy's just reminded me. So Jassy and we did a combined order because I was like, I'm getting so much stuff from supplies anyway, and she's got a forward shipper in the US. So she's like, if you want to order from that shop, I'm ordering from that shop anyway. So let's order together, and then I'll just ship yours to you from Singapore when you do your next order. And oh my God, I am so glad it's on Jassy's forward shipper account and not mine, because it took 2 months. Retail took 2 months. 2 months. It's still on its way. I think this order was placed before my birthday, which my birthday's end of September. It's just left the
I
US.
remember that. Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Yeah, it's just left the US. So I'm slightly glad I didn't do it on I looked at opening forward shippers because but if I did a forward ship, because I used to do forward ships all the time when Australian dollar was really high and the US dollar was nothing. And you go on shopping sprees. Yeah.
Yeah, we do that from Japan.
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah, you go on crazy shopping sprees, everything gets consolidated and then shipped at once. And like, if I had done that, I would have been paying holding costs for a month and a half, 2 months. Like, so I'm so glad that was on Jassy's account and not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was insane. But yeah, like postage is, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I know that was one of the things I argued with Jassy about on her calculator, because on the calculator, I'm about to admit that I haven't looked at it yet again. But one of the things that we talked about was postage, like how much is postage, and then
Yep.
we put it in, and then it would come out as part of the cost. And I'm like, Jassy, no, my postage is always separate. I will never include postage, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I won't include postage, because I actually literally just got stung 3 days ago. Again, it is a me problem, not an other people problem. But I've recently started selling overseas as well. So I have recently opened my market, and I'm like, if you are from so far US and US and New Zealand are the two only other countries I'm selling to. Um, but I've recently opened it up, and someone messaged me and they said they wanted to buy a bag and they wanted some custom makes as well and a couple of retail. I'm like, okay, cool. So postage is 11.30 Australia wide. Australia wide. I don't know how many times I said Australia wide, because her profile, her name, everything told me she wasn't in Australia. She's like, yep, that's good, that's good, that's good. I use Square as an invoicing platform. I think in the US, you guys have Square as well.
Yeah.
So I use Square online invoicing. And so I'm like, okay, she's saying that's right. So, okay, I'm going to have to listen to her, because maybe for ages, my Facebook profile said I was from Hong Kong when I was living in Australia. So maybe it's that kind of situation, you know? So I didn't want to push it. So I was like, okay, that's what's happening. So I invoiced her for 11.30 Australia post. Anyway, she's not in Australia. She's in New Zealand. Lucky for me, it's just New Zealand. So postage is higher, but it's not insane. So I posted it off yesterday. It cost me $19, I think. So I had to cop an $8 postage. I could have gone back and be like, hey, I told you this is Australia wide. You're not Australian. Well, you're not Australian, but you're not in Australia. You owe me money. But I don't know. To me, it's a yucky feeling.
I don't do it either.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll just have to cop it. And this is not, if you are from overseas and you're watching this, this is not you saying, this is not me saying you should do that to me. Please don't do that to me again. That hurt. That hurt. Because that $8, like $8, like I'm sitting here, I'm talking about $8, and like maybe I just sound like a cheapskate, but that $8, that's 2 takeaway coffees. That's 2 weeks of coffees for me, people. If I'm not functioning, that's why you owe me 2 weeks of coffee.
What it is a good lesson to confirm postal code or address.
Yes. And that's where I got
shipping.
lazy. That's where I got lazy, because with Square invoicing, you type up the invoice, everything in, and then you can click a button to say request shipping address. And then, so I never asked for shipping address beforehand, because I'm like, Square will prompt them and then it's all on the program. I can't forget. But I really need to actually confirm that first, especially if I had that, like, because in my head, I knew it wasn't in Australia. I knew it. And then I was just like, no, I'm gonna leave it, because it wasn't worth the fight. Again, I run away from conflict, I know.
No, there's a reason why I did free shipping for years and years and years, and a flat rate shipping for years and years and years for international purchases. So I'm okay. I still do flat rate, and I still like, I have my lighter weight items are free domestic shipping. And it's the bulky items that cost. They do have a charge. So
see, letter weight is where they get me in Australia. So it depends on who we get at the post office. So we have tracked envelopes here, and in the tracked envelopes, I can actually fit these guys in it. But I've had a couple of people now at the post office where sometimes I'll drop it off and they're like, this isn't a document. This isn't a letter. You can't post it. I'm like, what do you mean? So Jassy's talk about volumetric weight, and that is the biggest hit, I think, at the moment, and trying to learn all of that as well. That was something like Jassy and I've talked about when I place orders. I use a lot of Jassy's 3D air mesh. That's the spongy stuff. I made a Kindle sleeve recently, so I use that for lining instead of lining and then padding and stabilizer and everything. I just use the 3D air mesh. And whenever you order 3D air mesh, because it's so bulky but it weighs nothing, her online shop will quote you more shipping. So that's like a little thing that I've learned. If I order 3D image, I'm getting a postage refund. I'm still hanging for that refund, okay? Oh, it's so bad. I love my postage refund.
No, but it's true. I learned that when I was selling original paintings with my sister.
Yeah.
Because the size of the canvases. And there were a couple canvas sizes that if we could get it in a 3-inch or 4-inch box. So I don't remember what the canvas size was. I mean, it was like a 24 by 48, but the box was 3 inches or 4 inches.
Yeah.
It would be across the US, it was maybe $60 to $75. So we were still getting some volumetric weight. If it went up to 5 inches, shipping went up to $280.
Ooh, that hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. And we're talking about canvases, right? So like original paintings, canvases 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
So what, 38 millimeter, 40
Yeah.
millimeter. Yeah. Yeah. So you can totally get away with
Yeah.
8, 10 centimeter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Actually, while we're talking about volumetric and while I remember this is a little tip / hint for you Aussie bag makers that sell your makes, because I've noticed this with a few places now, or a few people now. I hope there's still Aussies here. I think you guys are still here. Postage. If any of you guys are using the flat rate postage bags from Australia Post, stop. Not stop, but if you so we have flat rate postage bags in Australia. So our small ones, I don't have them here, but they're probably roughly about this kind of size, right? And it can ship up to 5 kilos, and that's, I want to say 1130. That's what I'm quoting at the moment. Which is great if you're sending small but heavy items. Our bags are lightweight. So I think even my Pandora Allure, which is like a crazy bag, right? Like it's a lot of stuff. I think that still weighs under 500 grams. So Australia Post actually has, if you send things that are under a kilo, they don't look at the volumetric weight or the volumetric size. So I can send a bag like this big under a kilo, and it costs me $15.30. I think if it's under a kilo, it's $15.30. If it's under 500 grams, it's $11.30.
Yes.
The only reason I mention this is I've seen a few bag makers now on some of those handmade groups. They're advertising that postage is costing $24.95 for a standard bag, like similar size to Pandora Allure. And the only thing I can think of is that they're using flat rate bags from Australia Post, because those are based off size and you have to get the bigger bag to fit it. But if you actually use your own packaging and then go by weight and it's under a kilo, you're going to save a lot more money. And I know that's not your money necessarily, but if you're dealing with a customer like me, that like I get turned away by postage. So if a postage to me seems too expensive, I won't buy something. So you could have lost someone because you're quoting postage for $25 when it could have gotten away with $11 postage. So just be wary of that. Australia Post, use your own packaging.
The US has that as well for priority mail shipping. They have priority mail flat rate boxes. So if it fits, it ships up to 70 pounds.
Yeah.
And they also offer, so the US Postal Service offers free priority mail boxes. So you don't have to pay outright for the box, but you have to ship priority mail, which is a higher cost service. However, our bags are lighter weight. So if you can get the priority mail box that is not a flat rate box, but it will fit your item, 9 times out of 10, it is going to be quite a bit cheaper than the flat rate. If it's not quite a bit cheaper, it's usually right around that same flat rate amount, in which case then you can decide which one you're going to use. I don't use those. I purchase boxes and bags, and I ship Ground Advantage, which is slightly slower by like a day.
See, we don't have as many postage options as you guys do. We have regular post and express post. That's like whenever I look at US Post, I'm like, what is happening? Why is there so many? I cannot choose. Just
Oh, and then so in the US, if you don't yet have an account, sign up for Pirate Ship. Because Pirate Ship will give you commercial based pricing, which is cheaper than retail rates at the counter. Significantly cheaper.
That's really interesting.
And they also offer significantly cheaper international rates.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I see some of these places that are, like you mentioned, the ones charging $130 for postage from the US to Australia. And the only thing that I can think is that they are getting these priority mail boxes, and so your package is coming priority mail international.
I think it is. I think it is priority mail, because
And
I remember like a few times when I'm checking out, I'm like, I don't need it well, it's not going to be fast because it's coming overseas, but I'm like, I don't need it fast. Like I just want it at some point.
Right. I want to know that it's going to arrive, and that it's going to arrive intact and safely. Yeah. I'll wait for the postage. I'm fine. Like that doesn't bother
me. Yeah. And while we're talking about postage as well, let me quickly show that out. So this is what I use for Aussies who are wondering. I use Hero Pack. They're really great. They're supposed to be compostable. Compost.
Compostable.
I don't know how to say it. You can put it in your home compost system.
An Aussie accent. I don't know how to say it.
It's an Aussie accent. I know how to say it. It's just you guys don't understand me. But they are fantastic because like the sizing is great. So like I buy their small, large, extra large, I think. And yeah, I just use those for everything. Depending on my bags, I sometimes stuff my bags to ship. Very rarely do I use boxes. The only reason I don't like using boxes is again because of postage cost.
Yeah,
they add weight.
Definitely.
Yeah, they add weight. That's something to do with, have you thought about like when you sell a bag, how are you posting it, how are you packaging it for delivery? Do you do anything special? Like
I wrap it in paper. I don't use tissue paper. I find tissue paper to be too thin for my liking. But we can get like packing paper.
Yeah.
So like the bag, I just recently had a commission that I finished, and so I had it wrapped in packing paper, and then I have these. Oh, I actually have them in front of me. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're cute. Stickers. Yeah.
So just to seal it, and then I tuck a thank you card in there, and it's not anything like major or like I see all these like unboxing videos from and I'm like, that's all of those extras are coming out of your item prices.
Yeah. And
like you have to account for that.
Yeah. I think like a lot of it's really important that it looks really nice when it arrives. Like I think, like if I just spent $100 on a bag, right? But do you know what? Like I say this and like I've actually bought not Louis Vuitton or Burberry, like brands, but I've bought brand name, like I bought Coach bags that literally just come
in a poly mailer.
Yeah. So like people are happy to spend $500-$600 on a bag and it comes in a poly mailer and they won't think about it. But I think because we're a handmade business, we need to do that little extra, little something. So my packaging is similar to yours. So for bags that I want it to hold its shape, I do stuff it a little bit. After I stuff it, I use tissue paper. I do use tissue paper because it's just what I found. My branding colors is lilac and green. So that's what I've decided for my branding colors. It's lilac and like a forest green, because forest green, I'm an elf hunter. It makes sense. Lilac because it's shut up. Lilac because it's pretty and it's it's elegant, it's elf-like. It's me, yay! It's not me. I am not elegant and elf-like, but that's what
whatever. I saw pictures of you at a wedding in Scotland.
Oh, don't even talk about that picture. I'm so annoyed with that picture. It's a gorgeous picture of my kids and And Charlie looks handsome as anything. He's got his kilt on. Kian has his kilt on. Savannah's in a pretty little tea dress. And like Charlie's family took it. So they're focusing obviously on the kid. So it comes from a low down angle. And I'm like, nah.
Oh, whatever. You're gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Anyway.
Anyway. So when I package it, yeah. So I tissue paper it, branded. Well, it's not branded tissue, but it's my branding tissue paper. So it's my color. It's my color. Yeah. So my color, it's wrapped, and then I tie ribbon over it as a bow. So I do like a little. I've got one here. Let me just quickly grab it. Here. So this is someone that said they wanted 4 pouches retail. I wrapped it up. They still haven't paid for it. Still don't have their email address. So, but this is what they look like. So it has it says handmade on it on the ribbon. I've got a little thank you. And I don't think it's anything special. I think it doesn't look ugly. Don't get me wrong. I think it's nice, but it's nothing fancy. It's nothing pretty. But I've had so many people actually share videos of when they received their package. Oh my God, this is so nice. This is so lovely. It's so thoughtful. So even something as simple as that is enough. People are happy with that. They love it. They think you have put in the effort. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. There is effort in there. So I think sometimes when we are talking about how we package it, I think sometimes we go overboard as a handmade business. So I think we need to do a little bit, but we don't need to do too much is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Well, and I also handwrite a thank you, and it's nothing big, but I address the person by name. Thank you so much for your purchase. If there was something that stands out to me from a conversation or something like that, I will, include some anecdote or whatever. But for the most part, it's just, thank you so much for your purchase. And then that's
See, I love that, but I would never do it. And it's weird because I get so excited when I just recently got a hardware order from Mezen, and it was literally just thank you, lovely, for your order. I did a shout out of her magnets when I placed the order. Thank you so much for the shout out or whatever. And it's so lovely. It's so nice. But I would never do it because I'm really self-conscious of my handwriting. And I feel like my handwriting will make everything look worse.
What I have seen people do is they'll get postcard size.
Yeah.
Just inserts, and it'll have more of a generic message, but they will handwrite the customer's name.
Yeah. See, that's, I like that. Yeah.
And so it's still personalizing it. It's a little cheesy. It's a little in my opinion, for me personally, not the route that I would go, but I understand why people do it, especially if you have the volume of orders that would prevent you from being able to write a full on thank you. It takes me 10 seconds, but I have so much and from being in Hong Kong, I'm sure, and Jassy in Singapore, all the cute stationery that you've accumulated over the years. I actually got a little sad. So I was an exchange student in Germany years ago, and I fell in love with Deedle. He's this little mouse.
Yeah.
And I wrote a thank you to somebody at it was to Reen at J&R Edwards. I was sending her something and just happened to write a little note on it, and I ripped it off. And it was the last page.
Oh no.
I was like, oh
no. Yeah, that is sad. Oh.
Anyway, so Reen, if you're watching, you got the last one.
Jassy's just put down about her supplies, and I don't know if everyone else agrees with me here, but I don't want you to do any pretty packaging. No.
But, no.
If you want to do pretty packaging, I got to know, how about you wrap my stuff in Vibrant Vu?
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
I will order the biggest package I can to get more extra Vibrant Vu wrapping.
I honestly I'm so bummed because my package for supplies got held up in Kentucky.
No. Oh yeah, you were supposed to get it yesterday.
I was supposed to get it yesterday, and I was stocking tracking as one does when they're expecting an international package or domestic or any package whatsoever. And I noticed like what time it hit Kentucky, and I was like, okay, if it leaves Kentucky in the next X amount of hours, it will definitely arrive on the expected date. And so I checked it again, and it was still in Kentucky, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna get it. I'm gonna have to wait till Friday. And then it was like 4 or 5 hours later, I got the email from UPS that the package updated delivery date will be Friday. And I'm like, stupid Kentucky.
That is infuriating. I am going to be really annoying. Can I leave you here to tell everyone about your market setup, what you're preparing at the moment, so I can race to the toilet? I drank too much water. I will be back.
I guess, but I can also gush about Jassie's.
Yeah, you can do that. I'm trying to make you bigger. How do I make you bigger?
I'm like, wow, you're gonna leave and made me tiny. That's cool.
I know. I'm like, oh, there we go. Here we go. Is that? Oh, I've made you really big.
Well, oh wow, yeah. Hold on.
You're big now. I'm like,
okay, go. No, yeah, supplies. Every package I've gotten with supplies is like packed perfectly to fit. Like I remember. It was like, I remember what the cutoff was. If it was like 4 pounds, and I checked the shipping details, and it was like 3.99 pounds or something like that. It's like, oh my God, if you add like 2 extra stickers on the package, it's going to put it over the weight limit. Yeah. No, you Jassie, you do not need to do pretty packaging for your supplies orders. They're perfect. But as far as market setup, I actually had Christmas is coming, and my in-laws are very big into giving gifts rather than any sort of like gift cards or anything like that. So everything that I sent through my husband, so I thought, was related to sewing or markets or anything like that. And so I had put like a 24 by 36 cutting mat. I got a new, put a rotary cutter on there. And then I put one of the closet systems. It's actually the same one that Sam used, but I didn't know that at the time. But I sent it to my husband, and I was like, hey, I don't know how much your family normally spends, but here's another idea. And the next day, I happened to ask him, oh, hey, did you send that to your family? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Moved on. The next day, it arrived.
Wait, are we talking about your rotary mat arriving, or the
setup?
Yeah.
The one that it's the same one that you have, right? Yeah. So he brought it in the house, and he was like, yeah, so this is both a Christmas present and an investment from me. And I was like, aw. So
and that setup is so good. I know Jen from Jen's Homodology, she's also in Sophisticated. She recently shared it in one of her Amazon groups. I'll share the link here somewhere. It'll be there somewhere
in the description.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great. It was shared, and I saw it on Creative Bag Making. Did you see it in Creative Bag Making? There was
when the first person with the LED lights across the top, that looks so sharp. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. So this lady, I think it was in Creative Bag Making. I think she said she was in Germany. Yeah, it was. Yeah, she was in Germany, and she just did a show, and she had these shelves, and it was amazing. And there's a couple of different setups and there's a couple of different versions. But the best thing about it is that they can you can mix and match and build it how you want it. I only bought the one system. I assume you bought the one system as well, just to start. It doesn't need, so there's literally 3 screws for it, I think. The rest is literally just shove it down on there. And it's so good. It looked great at the market I did. The market I did was semi indoors, so I don't know how it is in an outdoor setting, obviously, like with wind and all of that. In Australia, it can get windy. I've had markets cancelled because of wind. So I don't know how I'll go in an outdoor setting, but I think like the weight was still quite strong. Yeah, that's the one I've got. I think that's the one I've got as well. Exactly the same.
Yeah, it is. The first one that I had sent him was the one that just had it was the 4 shelves and then the one like kind of closet side.
Yeah.
So I think it was not this. It was this and this.
Yeah.
And Tim was like, "Are you sure that's big enough?" I don't know that that's big enough. Like, you've made quite a few bags. I don't think that's big enough. And I was like, okay. So I sent him the link to this one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that looks better.
And it's surprisingly like it's not that expensive. Like it was quite good. I've bought a few setups over the years, and this one over the last year. And this one feels the most solid of what I've gotten so far. I've had a few that are like timber ones that you just screw on, and it's collapsed on me. So like that is not what you want.
I've done, they're very common in Artist Alley. So you probably have seen them at Supernova. You've probably seen them at other conventions that you've been to, whether it's anime conventions, comic conventions, horror conventions, whatever convention. If there's an Artist Alley, you've seen them, the grid cubes.
Yeah.
I started with those. So I first started selling in Artist Alley in 2004 at Anime Central in Chicago.
Yeah.
I had just discovered these amazing collectible ball jointed dolls, and I was like, I'm gonna get one. And so I actually made Sculpey cat ears and posable cat tails and sold them in Artist Alley. Like back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, those grids, they're everywhere and they are such a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I am not a fan of those grids.
Oh my God, the connectors that they come with are terrible. They wear out so quickly. So then you're stuck using zip ties, but then you have to overlap them and then they don't sit right. They're great for what they are, but there are so many other options available. And so when I saw that in creative bag making, I was like,
yeah, it was so good. The thing that I love the most about it is the hanging space. So
yes.
I hang a lot of bags. I've found hanging bags tend to, especially if it's like a store where people can actually come in and touch and feel, hanging bags get more attention than bags sitting on the shelf. So that's what I really like. I like the hanging space. But and that was really a really cool thing to talk about, like with displays at markets and stuff. Like I think we still have people here that are interested about markets, I think maybe. One thing that I've tried for as long as I can, like from when I first started doing markets, was how to get height. So, because obviously, I don't know in the US if you guys are similar. So we tend to get like 3x3 spaces. So 3 meters by 3 meters. I guess that's like.
Yeah, here it's 10 feet by 10 feet. So it's just slightly
similar,
bigger.
I think. So we use so that normally means trestle tables. So my first setup ever was 3 trestle tables. So 3 trestle tables, one back, one, and then I just had stuff all over the tables. And then I had to try and gain height because otherwise everything's lying flat. It's boring. It's whatever. I've bought lots and lots of like different like kitchen appliances to try and like, those like kitchen shelf things.
The wire shelves or the wooden crates or the
and like I've not used expensive ones, but I've tried all of them and I've finally come up with a situation that works. Again, I'm talking about the market that I did, and I used the same setup at Supernova. So if you guys saw my setup at Supernova, I did a similar thing, and all it is cardboard boxes.
Yes, with a tablecloth over them.
Yeah, tablecloth over cardboard boxes. Yep. So that is, for me so far, for bag displays especially. For smaller things, it might be different, like if you were earrings or like keychains and things like that. And this has just brought up Kmart. Surprisingly, I got my cardboard boxes from Kmart too. So the best one for me was the wrapping paper boxes. So Christmas time is the perfect time to
Oh,
go in.
yeah.
Yeah, so Hallmark ships all their wrapping paper in like these big giant boxes to the shops, and then the shops obviously take them out and get rid of the boxes. So I asked if I could have a couple of the boxes, and they're the perfect size. The box that your the shelves just came in, that is also that's the box that I
Yeah.
used in the market that I just did. So if you see that where my sassies
Yeah.
were all sitting, that's that
Yeah.
box. So I unpacked that box and put that on the table, and then tablecloth over.
Yeah. The
And
other thing that I like to do too is because I have all these stupid wire shelves, the square ones, is I
yeah,
will build like a cube, put the fabric over on the front and top, and then it gives me a cubby on the backside.
ooh,
And you can do the same thing with wooden crates. So if you want to use wooden crates to transport things like your petite pouches, or if you do key fobs or something like that that's smaller that you're just bringing in bulk,
yeah.
and you set it up so that the opening is to you, you can use your table cover to create a shelf on the table, but give yourself a cubby behind the table. So you
Ooh,
can hide, you can stash your water, you can
yeah,
stash your card reader, a spot for your phone or power bank or things like
that's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
you're not
cool.
losing table space.
I
Yeah.
like that. This is also like just brought up a whole bunch of stuff that Kmart
Yeah.
has. I'm trying to read it and like, ooh. I
Oh
have
yeah, the
seen their
design
handbag
stuff.
holder. The only reason I didn't get them was because I don't know how many of you saw how much stock I have. I have a problem deciding how much stock to stop. So having the handbag holders just became like I'd have to buy too many of them, and it just it kind of
You don't
freaked
have
me
enough space.
out. No, I don't. I don't.
You don't.
Oh, I love the idea of S hooks around and carabiners around the gazebo. Do you guys have to do gazebos in the US? We have to, if it's an outdoor market, we have
For
to do
outdoor market.
gazebos. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of depends. It's at your own discretion. It depends on the show. So I've
Mm.
mentioned I have done markets and festivals and conventions and whatnot for a variety of products over the years. And so it depends on the show. So if it's a higher caliber show, like art fairs, like fine art fairs or
Yeah.
fine art festivals, they require a white tent or gazebo. Like it
Oh, well.
specifically has to be white. Um if it's usually like the lower cost ones, they don't care about the color, but they do require, like certain weights per leg. But yeah, S hooks, or chains where
Yeah.
you can hook S hooks in. So like if you drape chains hanging down, you can hang them that way as well.
Yeah. If you go
Um,
to an Australian market, I don't think I've ever seen a white gazebo. You'll see a bunch of blue Wanderer. All of my Aussies will know what I'm talking about. It's blue Wanderer gazebos because they're like $200. I think they're like the cheapest gazebo we can get.
oh, here, so in the US, Walmart sells a really cheap one that's a slant leg. It's not even a straight leg one. So the canopy is smaller than the leg footprint at the
What?
ground. Yeah,
So you're not actually even covered by the sun.
correct. they're, they're,
It's like,
do not
why?
get those. Yeah, like Walmart also sells Ozark Trails. The thing is you can get a popular color to get that's on the cheaper end is gray.
Yeah.
And they're like $70.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you want something that is white and something that is heavier duty, you're going to be spending $200 to $300.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about right. Like, we
But
always pay more over here.
yeah.
Oh, ew, it's all right. It's okay. We'll make up for it. We've got,
I'm
I
like,
mean,
you say that, but you still have Kmart. So you're winning.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've got Kmart. I'm happy. As long as Kmart's still here, I'm happy. But you guys have Walmart and Costco. Oh, but we've got Costco now too. The first time I went to Costco was depressing. I could not even tie anything to the roof of my car anymore. It was that filled. I was like, ah!
That's like when we go to IKEA.
Oh, I know. Jassy like throws out at me all the time. She's like, "Oh, IKEA, get this IKEA bookshelf." I'm like, IKEA is not that easy to get to for me. Like, it's an hour and a half drive, and then I have to buy stuff and cart it back. Like,
when we got our house, so I brought up IKEA as well because I noticed that you had I think it was an IKEA clothing rack. And in
No,
the
that
US,
was Kmart.
is it Kmart?
It's
So
Kmart.
it's very similar to an IKEA one.
Yeah.
In the US, it's the cheapest clothing rack at IKEA. It's $9.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mine was similar at Kmart. Yeah, about 12
Yeah.
bucks or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But anything other than that one is going to be closer to $15 to $20.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember when we bought our house and we went shopping for a closet system, and we got the Ardell system for our walk-in closet. And at the time, like, I don't remember what was going on, but it was the height. We had to lay down the passenger seat, drop the back seat to feed everything in, and like one of us had to drive and one of us had to sit behind the driver so that we could fit in the car.
Oh,
Like,
oh no. Jassy bought hers from Carousel. She bought hers secondhand, her Billy shells from
oh
Carousel.
wow.
Yeah. Do you guys have Carousel in US? In the US?
I don't know.
I don't think we do.
If we do, I don't use it.
I think it's pretty much eBay from what I've understood from Jassy. Yeah, so it's pretty much eBay. So she bought hers from eBay. No, but yeah, mine is Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is my addiction. It's dangerous, but yeah. So you brought up my little hanging thing. So that hanging thing I got from Kmart. I've got 2 of those. I bought them for Supernova as a just in case because I know so many of my bags are hanging. And we were talking about Supernova and Artist Alley and those kind of things. So I don't know how many of you guys might consider doing Artist Alley or some sort of, table only style one. So this is probably something worth saying. So when I did those, I bought wire. It was like a wire grid. So it's kind of like those cubes, but instead of putting them into cubes, I just like Velcroed them to the back wall. And then I used S hooks to hang bags onto the wall. But I didn't know, in my head, I knew it would work, but I didn't know if it would work until I would get to the venue. So I bought those Kmart ones just in case. So worst case scenario, I could hang them there. But I think they were the best, like $9, $12, however much they cost from Kmart that I spent. Because even the market that I just did, even as I was packing the car with my sister, she's like, you're not going to use these. These are ugly. I'm like, I know, but just in case, let's bring them. And sure enough, as we're putting the bags out, Kylie's like, Sam, we can't fit anything else. We can't fit anything else. Guess what? Ta-da! My ugly little hook. And, like as craftsmen, we're the ones that are sitting there saying, oh, this setup looks gross. Oh, this setup. And granted, if your setup looks really bad, people probably don't want to spend time there. But I think it's okay to have stuff that isn't 100% fitting in or isn't 100% beautiful because it's still, if it does the job, I think it's still okay. So I think like if you're just starting out on markets and you're like, I need to spend $300-400 on things to help me display, I think you could pare it back a little bit and slowly build that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So don't go crazy buying things that you think you need for your market because you don't. Maybe you do, but yeah, as long as your stuff can be displayed nicely and prettily. Again, I say this with no hate. I'm not hating on anyone. I'm not. But the market that I just did last weekend, there was a person across from me. They actually got really angry at the organizers. They were supposed to be next to me. When they came to set up, they asked me, oh, what do you sell? Because obviously we're neighbors. They wanted to know. And I'm like, oh, I sell bags. And they're like, we sell bags. We should never be placed together. They got really offended. And I'm just like, look, I'm sure our stuff is different. And I knew it was different because my stuff was getting carted in. I don't know if you guys saw, but I had these big tubs about yay big, like 6 or 7 of them. And she had 2 tubs of the same size. So I'm like, whatever you're selling, even if they are bags, they're probably, like non-stabilized bags. They're just bags, different. Like there are different styles of bags.
Right.
So I was like, I don't think she got really offended. Anyway, long story short. So she ended up talking to the organizers. The organizer said, look, if you don't want to be there, you go move over there. So she ended up moving across from me. And what she was actually selling was like tote bags, like those fabric tote bags, like book bags and like grocery bags, those kind of things. And she was selling them for $10. So like her bags are like yay big, $10, and I'm selling these for $10. She had wine bags that were $8, and I was selling Zaria refreshers for $60. Like, so they are same but different, completely different. But what I realized or noticed with hers, and again, I'm not trying to tread on someone else's business or say like you're not doing the right thing, but she had all of her stuff on the table lying flat on top of each other.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't shop there because I don't like, especially at an artisan market, I don't want to dig through your stuff. I don't want to feel like, if I was at a bargain shop, if I was at Kmart and I'm looking for a size 2 t-shirt for my daughter, I have no problem sitting there like ripping things and what. Sorry if you work at Kmart and you've cleaned up but I have no problems digging through and looking for what I want. But when I'm at an artisan market, I don't want to sit at your store and be digging through and then turn around and be like, there's actually nothing here I like, so I'm just going to walk away. So if I see that I have to dig, I'm just not going to look unless the thing on top is exactly what I want.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to keep in mind is that's why to me height was so important is I don't want things stacked on top of each other. My sister and I have arguments over how my peonies are showcased all the time because I cannot work out how to showcase my peonies because they are sitting up, but they're one on top of the other. So you still kind of have to dig a little bit. And I feel like that doesn't encourage people to look.
I've recently seen, and I had it in my cart, but it was an acrylic stand that was like stepped.
Yeah.
But it was
I did
wide.
buy one like that. Yeah.
So I was like, man, get a few of those and you can start elevating them. So at least the top third of
shows.
the peony flap shows. So that they can, people can get drawn into whatever color pattern.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like we want to try and Jazzy just said yeah. And that's exactly. I bought some and they didn't work mainly because I bought them from Kmart and they were really bad quality and they just collapsed. So that was on me, not on anything else. But that is definitely something to keep in mind. Is as much as I say don't waste money, the display does matter. Just try to make it. Yeah. And sometimes less is more. Like I know my store was really full and I had a lot of stuff. And I think that's what drew a lot of you guys to my video when I was posting about it. But when you see some stores that don't have a lot of bags, it looks more expensive. Like, and I'm not trying to, I don't know how to say this without swearing. I'm not trying to shit talk my own store. Like I'm not saying, I don't know how to say that word without saying that word. Like I'm not trying to, downplay it or whatever. But like I feel like personally my store had too much stuff almost. Like I feel like it's great because it's nice for people to have a lot of stuff to look at and see. But at the same time, like because I had so much stuff, it kind of takes the expensive look away. Like sometimes when you see a store that just has like a few things, it's like, oh, that looks really. But at the same time, my market, my geography, I'm not catering for the expensive market. So I think that's something to always keep in mind too.
The other like kind of last thing that is a big one for me is pricing. Making sure every item has a price.
Yes.
I don't like grouped pricing because somebody can walk in, pick something up and put it down anywhere.
Yeah.
People don't read signs. They just simply don't.
Yeah. And on that is so true. I don't know if you saw, so I use that as the cover photo for this and for my Facebook post and whatever.
Yeah.
The table that I had the pouches on, I didn't bother. Obviously, I'm not going to label each one of these. Like that's I don't know. I don't know how many.
I have pricing gun for that.
Like 500 of them there. So I was not going to label them all. But I had a stand. I had maybe even 2 stands with $10 multi-buy discounts. Every
Oh,
single
how
time
much are
someone would
these?
ask, "How much are these?" And I'm like, "It's right there next to where you're
Doesn't
looking for it." No, they don't look. And that's the thing. And this is what I've done for mine. So these are little tags that in Australia I got these off Vistaprint. So that's like one of those like cheap printing companies.
Yeah.
It's just I went for Circle because it matched my logo, so I thought it was pretty. On the back, I just have handcrafted with love, and then the QR code takes them to my Facebook page. I've had people ask why not my Instagram, because truth be told, I'm not stylish enough for Instagram. No, that sounds really harsh, and that's not me digging for compliments. It's genuinely, to me, I'm more a Facebook person. Facebook makes more sense to me. Okay, stop laughing at me. um, and and then I have a little price tag. The price tag is just one of those pricing guns. I got a pricing gun from the dollar shop at our local shopping center, and then I just pricing gun it, and it makes it so much easier. It takes because I think sometimes as well when people see bags and they don't know how much it is, it's important. Like you can scare them away. I've had people scared away because without opening the Pandora lore, and they walked past and they're like, "Oh, how much is something like this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's $220." And then they'll automatically think $220 for when you just look at it like that without the straps, they're thinking a lunch bag. And I'm like, it's not a lunch bag. It's actually da 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 da. Show it. But some people don't give you the time to show it. They're like, $220. I'm not paying your kind of money. I'm walking away.
Yeah.
So when you actually have price tags, it makes it so much easier. I cheat a little bit too. I try to have my cheaper items closer to the front where people walk in or walk past. So one of the bags that I had at the front that actually had a lot of people touch it. If I got paid $1 for every time someone touched it, I would have sold that bag 20 times over. But it was one of the Shana Tree prints, like I was talking about, the artist in Australia. It was one of her bottle brush prints, water bottle bag, and people kept touching it and they loved it. And I like using that. And I'm sorry, Shana, if she ever hears this, because it sounds like I'm kind of like using her for free advertising. But I love having her prints on the front because she's one of the few prints that I have that is an Australian artist. I don't know her personally, but I've followed her for years. She also did a design collection for that cloth nappy company that I used to love. So I followed her, like her progress for years, and I have her stuff. I try to have her stuff really close to the front, but like a cheaper version of a bag that I've made with her fabric at the front. And then so when people touch it, I can be like, "Oh, actually, that's an Australian designer who does Australian printing.
Yeah.
She's from da 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 da," just to help strike up a conversation. One of the new things I've recently done that I think really helped, actually, especially not trying to toot my own horn, but I think a lot of the bags that we make, because when you tell people I make bags, most of the time their brains automatically go to the tote bags, like I was talking about across
Yes.
the road from us, right? Like that's what people think we make.
Yeah.
Like my handbag is a bell, one of the sophisticated bells. And people, when I say I make the bag, they think I mean I subliminated, printed my kids' faces onto a pre-made bag. I'm like, no. I got the fabric, I cut it, and I sewed it. All of it is me. Like this is
Yeah.
me. Like they can't comprehend that we actually make these bags because toot, our bags are really they look great. They're
They're
professional.
impressive.
Like
I remember I finished a bag. It was very early on when I first started making bags. And I worked from home for
yeah.
years before I got laid off. And I was on a call with my team. And, we were talking about, oh, what did you do over the weekend? Blah, 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 blah. And did you do anything fun? And I was like, I made a bag. Like, I was so excited. I made a bag.
Yeah.
And they're thinking like a tote bag or like a zipper pouch. And no, it wasn't. It was it was a tote bag, but it was made out of vinyl. It was actually one of the Backstitch and Base, her Lazy Sunday tote. So it's one that has like several pieces. It had all that. And I was like, no, it's this. And they were all like, oh my God, it's like a proper bag. I wasn't expecting a proper bag.
Yeah, it really blows people's minds. And So one of the things I've started doing, because I used to, like you said again about signs, people don't look at signs.
No,
But
not
I used to have a photo of my vintage sewing machine because everyone loves a vintage machine. They think it's pretty. I've spoken to people about her. I'm like, this is my girl. She's from 1943, you know. But I've had photos of me making bags. I've seen people talk about it. But this time I stole my kids' iPad, so
I
they
saw
let
you
iPad
had
privileges.
your
Yeah.
YouTube playlist going. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I put my YouTube channel on repeat. So it's actually just sewing bags, and it actually did grab people's attention a few times. They're like people would kind of like walk past, they'll see the screen, they'll look at it, and then they'll be like, oh, and they'd come and be like, do you make these? I'm like, yes, I make them. I mean, there's literally signs everywhere saying locally handmade bags. But yes, I do make them. And then that like would generate more interest and we'll get talking. I know not everyone has filmed videos. I know we've talked about that. It's obviously not an easy thing to do. So if anyone wants to play my videos, YouTube pays me when you guys play my videos. So please play my video.
Shameless plug.
That is literally me saying, please give me money, but at the same time, abuse my videos, use my videos for your advertising. I don't mind. Nikki's just like, I can't believe you said that.
Shameless plug.
But genuinely, like, I do not mind if you guys, I don't show my face that much. If you want to skip the front and the back and it shows someone making a bag, I'm quite happy. I don't, like, I know some people are funny with handmade businesses. Like I said, like the other lady complained and was like, blah, blah, blah. I don't see people as competition. Like, I'm not saying like I'm better than you. We're not competition. That's not what I'm saying. But like, I think we're in such a small community. I think we need to prop each other up. It's more important that we're all different.
Yeah.
Like, I know I say I sell to the US now, but that doesn't mean I'm direct competition to Nikki. Like, her customers are different to my customers, even though there's certain fabrics that we love that are the same. Like, we both have which one's the one that we have the same?
Cthulhu.
Yeah. Like
Baby Cthulhu.
yeah, the Cthulhu. We have the same fabric, but like even if we make exactly the same bag from that fabric, she's going to I can guarantee she'll use a different lining than I would. I can guarantee her photo will be dark and moody, and mine will be like, "Woo, I'm so much fun."
Well, and even the coordinating colors, right? So like the Cthulhu one I paired with the Poseidon. Big shock to everyone, I know. But it was the waterproof canvas from Sophisticated Supplies. And that was, I think, one of the very first things that you said to me was, oh my God, I never would have paired.
Never. Yeah. And it's actually really funny because like you love Poseidon. I don't know how often I've used Poseidon. Poseidon is like my most like stocked one because like I love it. I love the color, but I don't seem to use it as much. So like it is funny. Like even though we're all bag makers.
I'm like, this is just incomprehensible to me. I don't understand.
What do you mean? You haven't use it? So I genuinely like don't think so. That's why I have no problem. And I've said this, and I know sometimes people think like maybe I'm just saying it to say it, but that's why I have no problem if people wanted to message me, ask me stuff personally, because like I think I was really lucky when I first started bag making. I found Sophisticated Craft. And that was such a warm, welcoming community for me. Jassy, she, as much as she may hate it sometimes, like she's also always been really open to my messages. Like from the minute I became a tester for her, like I would ask her stupid questions. She's probably sitting there going, who is this girl? Like, what is wrong with her? And like, I have no problems talking to people. I have no problems helping because I had such great help when I started. Oh, I'm saying stupid girl, and I get an oh definitely from Jess. I know that's not what it's responsive to. I've not read the rest of her comment yet. It's just like stupid. Oh, that is what Jassy thought of me. No. But yeah, it's just I think like I've been really lucky that I've been welcomed into this community so lovingly. Like I have no problem sharing that love and sharing that community. I think I've been really lucky with what I've had. So, and I'm not here saying like I am so experienced, I know so much, because I'm not. I've been incredibly lucky. I've I know some of you don't think it's luck. I call it luck, but I've grown tremendously in a year, and that's all it's been. It's been a year. And I think it's because of the people that I've been surrounded by that have been so willing and lovingly giving me, help. So I have no problem repaying that. And I want to repay that. So even if you're a bag maker on the Central Coast and you live like 10 minutes away from me and we're doing the same markets, reach out. I have no problem sharing like supplies, sharing like suppliers, because everyone I use, I know, I love. I don't use things I don't think as well. I don't support people I don't want to support. And I think that's important. I think like we're a small community. Why build hate? Why build competition? Let's support each other and build us up.
Yeah.
Sorry, that
Yeah,
was
I've
my talk.
experienced No, I've experienced that in the doll community as well. So like a lot of my more robust experience obviously comes from doing the doll stuff. And I remember doing conventions and artist alley heads would place us doll sewists across like the entire artist alley, and we're like, man, I wish we were next to each other. And like they could not comprehend,
Yeah.
like heads of artist alley could not comprehend why people who are selling the same type of stuff would want to be next to each other. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Our
Yeah.
target market is the exact same people. Let's
Yeah.
make it convenient.
Yeah.
Like if
And
I don't have something and they have it, let me just have them go next door rather than across the hall.
yeah. And that's the thing, right? Because like even though yes, we're selling the same stuff, we're direct competition, but it's not you help prop each other up, right? Like if I don't get a sale because I paired this bag with pink and you hate pink, but the person next to me has it paired with blue and I've helped them sell a bag, that's great. But guess what? If they weren't next to me, that person still wouldn't have bought my pink bag anyway. Like, so it makes no difference. Like obviously like it comes in if there's like price undercutting and whatever, but at the same time, I think that comes down to, like we talked about with the pricing calculator, because that's one of the things. You can't change the cost, right? The only thing you change is your hourly rate. And actually, while I'm talking about that, maybe that's something we should talk about, because Jen, one of the other mods from Sophisticated, she brought this up because Jen's about to get started on selling bags as well. She's been one of the biggest hurdles she's had. I hope she doesn't mind me bringing this up, but one of the biggest hurdles she had was pricing, because pricing is a hard mental game, right? It's hard. Like you're like, I'm putting my stuff out there. If I price it too high and people don't take it, like it hurts sometimes, right? And you do wonder, am I pricing it too high? Am I pricing it wrong? But one of the things Jen talked about was, how is it fair that if someone is a really slow sewist, and then so they price it cost times 5 hours, and I'm a really fast sewist and I can do it in 3 hours, like, how is that fair? And I think that's something it's kind of like, it's understanding the difference, right? So when I price mine, and I think that's something we should talk about, because when I price my bags and I do however many hours, I don't go by how many hours it took me to make, which I know is really cheating in some ways. But like let's look at the Travelnizer, for example. I remember when I tested, one of the things Jassy asks us when we test any of her patterns for Sophisticated Craft is, how long did this take cut to sew? Obviously, adulting duties, all that jazz. And truth be told, when I first answered that question on the Travelnizer, I think I might have said 4 hours or 5 hours or something. And Jassy like messaged me straight away. She's like, you're wrong. It's not that. It would have taken 8 to 10 hours. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. And I was just like, no. I was like, oh, am I? Truth be told, I never like work out how long it takes. I have no idea. Very rarely can I sew a bag in one sitting. Recently I did, and I worked out what I think I take is probably right. So I cheat, especially for Sophisticated Craft Designs. I go onto the Tester Make blog. So if you don't know, on Sophisticated Craft website, there is blogs, there's tester blogs. You can go in and you can see how long everyone says the bag takes to make. So I look at everyone's answers and I get the center point. So I get the median.
But what if everyone is
doing the same
pulling it
thing.
out because they don't know? And they're like, well, I think maybe it takes me about this long. I don't know about
I think
this.
that there has to be some sort of like correctness to it though, right? Like, so, and like, I do try, like, don't get me wrong. I do try. And like, I think, because obviously like time changes as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that, so like one of the things that Jen brought up, which she questioned, Jassie's like, now we know, don't listen to Sam when she says she takes But one of the things Jen brought up is, how is it fair that a newbie bag maker who might take, let's say, 3 hours to make a Zaria Noir, she can charge 3 hours when it would take me, for example, an hour to make. Like, how is that fair? And yeah, and see, like, Darlene is a slow and steady sewist, and I think that's something that like we need to keep in mind. I've never thought I was a fast sewist. I now realize maybe I am. Nikki has been telling me for ages that I am. Jassie's been telling me that I am. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just crazy. Turns out maybe I am fast. But I think we all kind of have an idea, right? Like we kind of know. So there are certain bags, I think, that we know this will take roughly this long. And
yeah.
I take a lot of breaks. I'm not gonna lie. I'll sit down for half an hour and I'm like, I need chocolate. I can't sit here I just can't. And obviously I probably have undiagnosed ADHD. We could probably all tell that. But
like yesterday, I finished up a Luna regular. Was it yesterday? Yeah. Yesterday, yes. Yesterday, I finished up a Luna. It's been a long day. And I was like, okay, it's only going to take me 45 minutes. I can totally do this. I just have to, basically it was all the gusset stuff, right? So finish top stitching one of the panels and then just go with the gusset and all the finishing stuff. I'm like, at most 45 minutes. Not a big deal. 4 hours later, I actually finished it. Now, keep in mind, my sewing time was probably less than 45 minutes.
Yeah.
The other 3 hours and 15 plus minutes was distractions.
Yeah, definitely. And I know my phone is my biggest distraction. And that's the thing. Like, so that's one thing that when we're calculating costs, we have to be careful of, is the time. And like, what are we actually saying is our time? Obviously, as you get faster, you sew the pattern more, you're not going to turn around and be like, oh, I'm going to reduce the price now. No, because that's now, and this is something Nikki and I actually talked about yesterday, is labor costs and profit, right? There's a difference between labor costs and profit. And I think bag makers or crafters in general, we kind of forget that sometimes. So like your cost and your hourly rate, that is still cost. Your hourly rate is still a cost. So when you discount, you're not discounting your profit, you're discounting your rate in your time. Because let's pretend this isn't your business. So let's pretend I don't own Made by Erillant. Let's pretend someone owns Made by Erillant, right? And I am sewing for Made by Erillant. If I go to work and I sew for 5 hours, I expect you to pay me 5 hours of wages. So Made by Erillant as a company would pay me 5 hours of wages. They'll pay obviously the costs. If they have money on top, that is profit. Just because I also own Made by Erillant doesn't mean that that profit simply disappears, right? So, and if I don't make that profit, I then don't have money to reinvest in my business. So obviously I could use money that I got from my labor, for my pay. I could use that towards investing in the business. I can, but that's eating into my costs. That's not profit reinvested into the business. And that's where sometimes small businesses, sole traders, we get wrong. And it's not just for us crafters. Like you will see electricians do the same thing, plumbers do the same thing. Yeah. And it's across all small business. And I say this as someone who, like, my background before real estate, I've had a lot of lifetimes. Okay. My background before real estate, I studied economics and law in university. So like money has always been my thing. I don't want to say I'm money hungry, but I know money is what I know. My mum has been a real estate sales agent for I don't know how long, like 30, 40 years. My dad owned his own golfing business. Like business is just, And that's something that my dad made that mistake. My dad passed away many years ago. And as someone who owned a very successful business, and he was a very successful business, he had like some of his clients included people like Vijay Singh, who, if any of you guys are golfers, I don't know how many people actually play golf. He was a huge golfing star. He's amended clubs for Tiger Woods before the scandal. Let's be fair there. The Shark, he did like stuff for the Shark. Like he was a big name in golfing. He used to go to Texas every year for a big golfing convention because he was a huge name in golfing. When he passed away, he had $26 in his bank account. And I found out later on, as we got older, as we become adults and we have conversations, Mum also supplemented his business. So Mum had her job. She was supplementing money into his business. So even though he had a crazy successful business, people flew from all over the world to Hong Kong to come and visit him. And his business made money. He never made money because he was discounting himself by saying that his profit or his wage was the same thing. And so that's why it's really important that we separate those two words. Wage, profit, two different things. And so that's something we need to think about when we're pricing. And why I bring it up when I'm talking about our time is because the Travel Nizer, when I made my first one, it probably did take me 8 hours. So it probably did take 8 hours cut to finish. I've now, with the systems I've got in place, and the systems I've got in place is, if you saw my sew along, I talked about some of the cheats that I do when I production sew. So some of those cheats, the fact that I'm a little bit faster, I don't have to read the instructions. I use templates to cut now, so that saves me a little bit more time. All of these things mean that my so much. All of these things mean like it's now maybe like a 5-hour make for me. So those 3 hours that I've just gained back is now profit. So that's my profit. So I'm still charging the 8 hours, but I now have profit that I can now reinvest in that business. What do I reinvest in? Templates. No, but like that's the difference.
It's not actually. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because you need to build profit into your costing. So and that's the other thing too, right? So when you work at a job, you start at whatever your salary is. You work for Joe Schmo down the street, owns a business. You get hired for $15, $20 now. $20 an hour. And then as you start to learn more about the business, you start to get better at your job. You're faster, you're more knowledgeable. Maybe you train some people, you're taking on more responsibility. You get a pay raise.
Yeah.
That's your speed. That is the time that you have saved is your pay raise.
And that
is not profit. That is your pay raise.
That's probably exactly kind of like answers what Jen was saying as well about the newbie sewist against the experienced one, right? So your hourly rate would be different.
Right. But so it's like a mechanic, right? A mechanic will bill 8 hours to replace a clutch at $100 an hour. They're going to bill $800 to replace a clutch, but it probably only takes them about 3 hours to do it. But they're going to get $800 for that 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then they have a choice, right? They can either sit for the next 5 hours or they can replace another clutch.
Yeah. That's true.
Actually, and so now their hourly rate is higher. They've gotten their raise, so they're happier. Their work-life balance is probably better because they're making a little bit more money. But the profit to the business is built on top of that hourly rate.
Yeah.
It is a separate costing.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't like that because now that means I need to up my prices. My business isn't making a profit. No, actually, that's not true because I do. So, and this is me cheating a little bit again. So I'm going to tell you guys this, and Jussie is, I don't know if Jussie is going to react or how my customers are going to react if they hear it. So if you hear it, sorry, but you've paid for my coffee. No, I think people expect, right? They expect a business to make profit, right? Like no one expects me not to make a profit.
You can't choose new products if you don't make a profit.
Yeah. So I plugged this guy, which is my refresh, into, I think it was this one. I'm going to say it's this one. It might have been a different refresh, but it was one of the refreshes I plugged into, not the one that just got released, but the one that just got redone just before the release. And I plugged that one in, and I think it came up at $45 after my hourly rate. So and I priced them at $60. So that's my profit on top. And I think that's something that is important with these things as well, with the calculator. So the calculator gives you, I guess, what is your minimum. This is minimum what you should be able or can sell it for. And then what you add on top. And how do you decide what to add on top? I can tell you how I decided to add on top. The way I decided to add on top, and maybe this isn't 100% right, but this is how I do my business, and I guess you guys are listening to me, so you suck to listen to me now, is based off what else I sell. And like Nikki and I have had these conversations plenty of times. Like I have products that I think these are my under $50. These are my over $50. So I have my 50 to 100, my 100 to 150, and then my overs. So my overs is, I don't want to say I literally throw a price at it and hope it sticks, but sometimes that's what it feels like, right, when you're pricing. But so with the water bottle bags, how I decided it was, so I've got these guys and I've got these guys, and then I've got a different version. So I know how much I priced these ones, and then this one that I've got should be priced at a higher point because this one has slightly more features than this one. And then this one then has more features than this one. So that's how I kind of gauge it, right? By what else you've got. Because if you come into, like, if you go into a shop and you see a Pandora Allure, and then you see a single pocket Pandora Allure, and you have the double pocket Pandora Allure next to each other, and they're the same price, you'll sit there and go, that doesn't make sense, right? Like you would expect it to be different. Like if it has more features, it should be different. So that's kind of how I do it too. So what I put on the calculator, and then I add on what I think that difference should be. I don't know if I should say this out loud because I know like I've got customers that might listen to this, but we know I can't keep secrets, right? I don't keep secrets. I'm as honest as you can see. Like what you see is what you get. So I'm just going to tell you guys. My biggest profit maker is the clear pixies. So the clear pixie is my biggest profit maker. I haven't plugged it into the calculator, so I don't actually know what the cost is, but I know how much time it takes me to make. So I know roughly where it should be priced, but where I ended up pricing it is much higher because of the fact that it can be converted into a backpack. It could be a crossbody. It could be a handheld bag. So I think because of those features, I can't just price it and have it the same price as, say, like my Luna Petite, because my Luna Petite is just a crossbody bag, right? So like, to me, you have to kind of look based off your product mix as well. So you obviously, sorry, I'm making this so confusing. I'm saying I'm making this simple, and then here I am. Like, no, I'm going to confuse you all. But I think that's what the calculator's for, right? The calculator is great to help you get a baseline understanding, so you know what your cost is. Because I think that's where a lot of us stuff up, is we don't know our costs.
Well, and it's true in every creative field. We initially price on how we feel. Yeah. I feel like it should be this much. I feel like it should, like, I feel like people are going to pay this much. I feel like it's only worth X amount. That's your emotion speaking.
Yeah.
Chuck that in the bin. Do the calculator, get the hard numbers.
Yeah.
And then you know how much it's worth.
Yeah. And you know what? The calculator, actually, I need to, Jassy knows I complained about this because she decided to test this calculator at the time where I am like the busiest and like most burnt out I've ever been in bag making, right? And one of the things I complained about was having to enter everything. I love a spreadsheet and I love data. Like I am data meant. When I did economics in school, I majored in econometrics. So for those who don't know, it's literally the mathematical side of economics, like spreadsheets, data. It's my thing, okay? And one thing that surprised me when I was entering it, because I have an idea in my head of how much my supplies cost, right? Like in my head, I'm like, I don't need to do this. I know how much my supplies cost. What I've not realized is what I had in my head as to how much my supplies cost was probably true from when I first started a year and a half ago. Because when I first started and I was buying tri-glides, right? For example, we were talking about tri-glides before we came live. When I first bought my first tri-glide, I was buying them like 2 at a time, 3 at a time, 4 at a time, however much the pattern asked. Actually, 1 at a time then, because the pattern would only ask for 1 at a time. And then I slowly moved to 10 at a time. And then I now buy my tri-glides 50 or 100 at a time. I can't remember. But when I entered it into the calculator, and Jassie's calculator has like however much it is and however many the quantity, and it does the maths, which, I mean, it's not hard maths, right? All I have to do is divide by it, but you don't do it when you buy it. I've suddenly realized that
you don't?
I don't have the time. I don't have the time.
Oh my God, no, I calculate because every supplier is different and I calculate the cost per piece.
I should. And like, I should, and I probably do, and maybe it just doesn't register. I don't know, but like,
yeah, you're probably just doing it in your head really quick, and then you made your decision, and then it's done.
And then it's done, right? Yeah. So like a tri-glide in my head, right? A tri-glide is like, these are $2.50. These are $2.50, and I worked out they are not $2.50. They're not $2.50 anymore.
No, they're definitely not.
And like they were when I was buying them 1 at a time, they were, but like now they're like, yeah, nowhere near that. So like that's one of the really cool things. And like, as much as I hated having to enter each of my supplies in, it like gave me a chance to actually look and see what I thought how much my supplies were was not what it was at all. And it's really refreshing. It's really like really interesting to see, because in all honesty, like, I mean, maybe people don't forget like me. Maybe I'm just like an outlier. But
no,
like,
it's so hard to remember though. I mean, when we're dealing with zipper pulls that are sold separately, and you know, admittedly, a lot of my testing was with sophisticated patterns. That's the bulk of my pattern stash. I have 2 designers that I buy from consistently, and Jassy is one of them. And we all know how much she loves pockets. And
yeah, Jassy, too many pockets.
So really, but when you think about it, right? So you're talking about zipper tape that's sold separately. And you're talking about zipper pulls that are sold separately. And then if you decide to do any custom pulls, so that's a lot of like mental energy
variables.
Remember, like, okay, how much was a zipper pull? What am I doing with this one? Am I using a custom one? What about the zipper tape? If I do this zipper tape, it's a little bit more expensive, but that one isn't. And for an inside pocket, I'll use the cheaper one, but the exterior will be like, all of that plays a part, right? And we all make these little decisions as we are creating these patterns, but that's mental energy that we are not spending when we are thinking about price. When we're ready to sell it, we're not looking at it going, oh, but I used this zipper tape instead of that zipper tape. And I used this stabilizer instead of that stabilizer, because I don't know, do you even remember which stabilizer you used?
No. I do. But
I mean, I do now because exclusivity is amazing.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, I do now because I don't use anything else. So it makes it so much easier.
Same.
Yeah. And that's the thing as well. Like, whenever one of the things with the calculator, I know some of you that have just bought it. I know Barbara isn't here with us anymore. That doesn't sound right, but Barbara's left because I talk too much, and she's like, I've got stuff to do. I'm leaving you guys. You guys are crazy. I can't believe there's 14 eyeballs staring at me right now. 14 eyeballs, 28 eyeballs. So YouTube is telling me there's still 14 of you guys here with me. I do not understand why you're still listening to me.
Well, there's a couple people on mine as well. So
so it's actually for you. It's not me. That makes more sense. No. But like, I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, we're talking about the calculator. One of the things. So here's a little I don't know if this is a cheat or if this is something that everyone knows and I'm just not someone who thought about it. So there is let me see if I'm going to quickly look at this and see if I can actually show you guys. I think I can show you guys this. Yeah, I can show you guys this. I don't think Jassy would have too many problems with me showing this. If you do, too bad. I'm not waiting.
She's like, I don't know, Sam. What are you going to be showing?
Yeah, I'm going to, let me see if I can work out how this works. Oh, hey, why is this suddenly not working now? Where are you? So I want to show this spreadsheet here to show this bit. It showed before that I could show it, and now suddenly it's, oh, here it is. Oh, okay, I'm going to share this screen, but I want to make sure, oh yeah, it is nice and big. Okay, we can see it. Okay, so this is the spreadsheet here. So this is the supply tab that I was talking about and I was complaining about, okay? So one of the things here is, obviously here you have to put down I don't know how well you guys can see that I'm moving this around. So you have to put down what the item is here, right? So like with this clear vinyl, checkerboard faux leather, where you buy it from, how much it is. So my cheat is I don't buy fabric from a lot of different suppliers. So I have a couple suppliers and that's it. So instead of actually putting in like WPC floral pink or WPC floral green or whatever it is, I literally just put in WPC in the description of material. And then the supplier, I then put in who the supplier was. Because, I mean, I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but whenever you buy one item or another, I'm going to get rid of that now because no one needs to see it now. But whenever I buy like WPC from the same person, it's the same price. Oh, hi, Alison. First time jumping in from Byron. Oh, I love Byron. Oh, don't even get me started. Apparently, Zac Efron's about to move to Byron. He's my husband. He just doesn't realize it yet. No.
Well, we've been receiving quite a bit of love, so thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, oh yeah, we have. Oh, I was clicked away on the spreadsheet. I didn't even notice. Oh, thank you. But yeah, so with this, instead of entering each description of fabric separately, I actually put it all under the same company. So if it's all Inkling WPC, then it's WPC Inkling. If it's all cotton canvas Inkling, then that's all in. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm not laughing. I'm recoiling in horror. Oh my God.
Because I group it all together.
I can't. But I also include, so as part of my inventory tracking, I also include
inventory track. Yeah, I don't inventory track.
I have to for tax purposes. So end of year, I have to do a full-on inventory count of everything.
Yeah.
For filing taxes. For year end. So but not only that, you also have to pay shipping, right? So anytime I order from Jassy, I have to calculate the total cost. I do everything by price per square inch.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of up in the air as to whether international folks who order from the US do price per square inch or price per square centimeter. But all the different measurements we all use.
And it's crazy. I'm just gonna jump in because you're laughing anyway. But like that was one thing with the cost calculator that like came into play so much because Jassy's the first one she did was imperial only because like let's be fair, sewing, most of us we talk imperial. Like Australia, we're a metric system, we talk in centimeters and meters, but when it comes to sewing, I talk in inches. But weirdly, if I go to like Spotlight, which is like our version of Joanne's,
you're purchasing by meter.
So like yeah, and like that was one thing. So that's one of the things I want to say. I want to claim that on me. I want to say I made Jassy that conversion, and maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. But yeah, it's inches and centimeters.
But I also have to then calculate total cost per shipping for everything in that order. And I split shipping based on the material size. So if I
Yeah.
order a yard, if everything is 1 yard or 1 meter or half meter, it's very easy then to divide shipping, but shipping is included in my costs because that's how much it costs me to get that fabric.
Yeah.
And so if I do another order for sophisticated supplies and I order, I don't know, a 5 kilo box instead of a 2.5 kilo box, my cost per piece or my cost per item on the shipping is less.
Yeah.
So pricing is different.
I just realized I accidentally locked the cat in here with me and he's purring at me. Oh, no. Go away. Go away. But he's not actually allowed in the sewing room. I do have pants on. These are just... I was saying to Nikki before we came live that I've got these pants on from Victoria's Secret. I've had these since I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19. And it sounds amazing. Like, oh my God, you can fit into jeans that you fit into at 18. They don't fit. That's why they're so short. They don't fit. But the problem is my comfy shorts that I've had for years. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. I can't believe I went out yesterday. I don't know how long we were out for. We went to Kian's karate class. Kian's my 4-year-old. We went to his karate class. And then we went to Guzman, which is a Mexican takeaway place, the place that was trying to call me that wasn't actually calling me. We went there to get takeaway for dinner. And then as we're getting into the car, Charlie says to me, Sam, when we get in the car, I have to tell you something. I'm like, oh, okay. We get in the car. Sam, your pants are split.
Oh, no.
I was like, what? Why didn't you tell me when you first noticed? And he's like, oh, I didn't want to tell you. Oh, bye, Nissa. Thank you for joining. And I was like, he's like, oh, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to get both the kids into their car seats. So if I told you, you would jump into the car.
What a jerk.
Yeah. So I do have pants on. They just don't fit me, but I do have pants on. That's yeah. So if there is anyone watching and they're from the Central Coast and they saw this girl wandering around yesterday with a giant split in her pants, that was me.
That's
Oh, Allison's been watching the unboxing. I am secretly hoping that Nikki's, I don't know if you'll hear when Nikki said it before, her parcel didn't arrive. Mine's supposed to arrive today, and I'm hoping it does. So they still haven't gotten yet. But I've got mine's a small one this time. My fault. I quickly did a quick order of just stuff that I knew I needed because I've just not been in the right headspace this week. This week has been horrendous. When the products launched, I just ran out of time, just grabbed what I needed and checked out. And so I've only got a small parcel and I'm really annoyed because I'm seeing everyone's orders show up at the moment.
Right?
I'm like,
okay, so mine is the most boring parcel that's coming. Like I can't even do a box opening because it's like, I got sufficient foam. Look, I got more sufficient foam. Oh my gosh, guess what I got? Sufficient foam.
Yeah. If I do an unboxing this time, it's going to be pretty much, I think it's a lot of, I think it's just twill. I think I might just have twill.
Oh, I think so, because Vibrant View didn't come in yet.
Yeah, exactly. And I have Talia's not here, so I can talk about her. So I have a love-hate friendship with Talia at the moment. So Talia is in Brisbane. She owns Vinyl World up in Brisbane. Vinyl World. I hope I said her company right. I probably said it wrong, and I'm really sorry if I did, Talia. But she has the exact same taste as I do when it comes to supplies. So her and I are on a racing match to buy supplies. She just got her parcel delivered. I think last night she posted her parcel and I'm like, oh, I want all of that. I was so annoyed with myself. But
there was somebody, I wish I could remember who it was. But they got a really good selection of twill and Vibrant View, and some vinyls. It wasn't Talia.
Was it Darlene?
Maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like everything in it, I was like, these are like all of my favorite colors of everything that you've ordered. Oh my God.
I know, right? Oh, and yeah, it's just been, I'm like, I'm obsessed with everything. And it's, yeah, I, I get jealous. Like, I know, like, I could just order at any time, like I can. And like, I'm going to throw out, I might have done a cheeky, I don't even think you know this, but I got Jassy to send me stuff pre-release.
Oh
So like,
yeah, I know.
I snuck in a little order there. It wasn't anything special. I didn't steal anything that anyone needed. Don't worry. It was just black twill. It was black twill because I had custom orders that ran out. So like there are some mod benefits I get. Like I can like sneakily say to Jassy, can you hold this aside for me? But she won't do it for me with like the really popular ones. Like I've tried a few times now, like Vibrant Vu, Baby Blue, Baby Pink, you know, Seafoam, Aquamarine, put those aside for me. And that's why Talia and I have a love-hate relationship, because the last release, I jumped in, I was super fast, I grabbed all the Seafoam, all the Aquamarine, and then Jassy sends me a message later on. She's like, Sam, my website miscalculated. I don't have enough Aquamarine. Can I like short ship you, exchange it, whatever? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I've actually got enough in stock, so I don't need it. That's fine. No problem. I find out she sent it to Talia. No, I do love Talia. In case anyone thinks I'm hating on her, I'm not. I'm not. I am, yeah, I'm just like her and I are just on a fighting match when it comes to supply. She's constantly stealing all the pretty colors from me. How often does sophisticated restock? Alison just asked. It's surprisingly, it's not supposed to be this long. Jassy's had a really, really bad run with her supplier recently. The reason why Vibrant Vu wasn't restocked, it was supposed to be restocked, is they left. Oh, Talia. Oh, it was. I've been hating on Talia for no reason. Jassy just told me she didn't give it to Talia. But so this is going to sound crazy. So Jassy ordered a bunch of Vibrant Vu and Twill, and everything was supposed to be delivered at the same time. And it got left in the truck and didn't make it onto the cargo ship to get delivered to her in Singapore. And it wasn't realized until Jassy got her supply order, and it was like, why am I missing all of these colors? And they then went and checked the truck. I don't know what that truck's been doing this whole time, but it was sitting at the back of the truck and it never made it onto the cargo ship. So Jassy's actually now having to pay double shipping and everything for it. But one of the reasons why it's out of stock so often at the moment, and I'm going to claim it, is no, it's not me. It's, to be honest, the deal that she just got with UPS has just come through, and I think people are only just realizing like the shipping and how big of a difference it is. Like it's come down a lot. Like I know international shipping, it still sounds scary. It can still sound like a lot. Like, but what I think people are just realizing with the price of the shipping, the quality of the products, and how much the products actually cost, the shipping isn't that much, and it's just started taking off. So, Jassy, I think she used to. I could be wrong here, but she used to order like 10 meters of each color at a time, and she would have stock. So like at release, it wasn't selling out. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, we need to race to buy it. And then I think when this deal with UPS came through and people started catching on, suddenly now it's like once it releases, it's gone. And then so the last order, I think she did 20 meters per color, and then that just went bang, gone. So I think like that's a thing that we're trying to, well, not, I say we, like I have any, here I am trying to claim Jassy's business again. But I think that's something Jassy's like trying to work out, because she's actually messaged me a few times. She's like, Sam, how much do you actually want? Because I'm not going to lie, I am probably partly responsible for colors running out, because I do, I do buy a lot of it. And like I've come back and I'm like, look, Jassy, like honestly, I'm buying 2-3 meters minimum at a time. And she's like, yeah, 10 meters of each color isn't enough, is it? I'm like, no, it's not. So I think she's slowly trying to work up that. So hopefully the restocks will be more often and will be bigger restocks. So it's not like Yeah.
The next one is the Vibrant View
Yeah. And I think
in
that's just
what,
landed in
a
Singapore.
couple of
So
weeks.
yeah, so I think it's landed in
She's
Singapore. I think
started
Jassie's cutting it
cutting.
already.
Yeah.
But Jassie's going away next week. I knew it was you, Sam.
It's all her fault.
It
All her
is. It normally is my fault. I'm not gonna lie. To be honest, and like I don't know if Jassy, oh, you guys probably know I get mod benefits. Of course I get mod benefits. So Jassy used to give me like half an hour head start before the website would open. So I was allowed half an hour head start before you guys were to go in and shop and like buy what I wanted. The last release, she didn't give me that. The last release, it was like, oh, by the way, website's open. I'm like, what?
5 minutes.
I was like, this is not enough time for me.
And weren't you at like something for Kian or Santa? Like,
I think I was. I was at like something, and I was just like, I don't know. What do I need? Like,
I haven't even looked. I don't know. I remember that.
Oh, so yeah, there is a lot. And yeah, Jassie's like written a couple comments I've not read. Sorry. Whoopsies. Yeah,
December
Jassy
11th.
has a lot
Vibrant
of
View.
Yeah, yes. 11th of December. So that's the next drop. But yeah, the colors is like one of her biggest things. So as mod group, we've talked about it a lot. Like Jassie's asked for our opinion on colors and stuff. But like in all honesty, colors is one of the biggest things that keep like sending me back for like supplies, because like I never thought I was a color person, and this is probably dangerous because I know someone, I don't know if, I can't remember who it was. I don't know if they're watching live right now, but someone ordered one of each color, I think, of Twill and Vibrant Blue. I think Jassy posted that, like literally got one of each color of everything. And that is a dangerous thing because that's what I did. And once you do that, you can't go back. Once you've gotten all the colors, like you can't go back to just using a couple of colors again. Like you're locked in for life. Like I can't go back. When I got
and
my
then there's
first,
me that just orders from the leftovers.
yeah, that's actually what Nikki does. She sent a message the other day. She's like, oh, whatever's left, that's what I'll have. I'm like, what are you doing? Go buy them. Buy the good ones. But there's genuinely like there's colors there that I never ever thought in my life I would use. Like I would never have thought that I would use like lemonade.
Rust.
Lemonade is one of my favorites at the moment.
Oh, I love lemonade. Rust. Rust
Yeah,
Twill. Never would have thought to use it. And I use it in the charm.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's such a pretty color. And it's actually, I think it's one of the things that like sets you apart. Like I know we were talking about selling. Who knew we would go off on a tangent again? But like that's one of the things that like I always talk about that set me apart. Like we talk about business and we talk about like unique selling differences, right? Is I can get you exactly what you want. Like I don't know how many of you have been here from the start because we've been talking for 3 hours. So if you have, thank you. But one of the things I talked about was the Disney group that I'm part of. I post in there once a week, and one of the posts that I did once was like, oh, this is what I made this last week. And someone commented, can I buy this passport wallet? I'm like, no, you can't. This was a custom made for someone. It's gone. And they're like, okay, can I order it? Yes, you can. Did you want it exactly like this? Because I can make it any other color. And they were like, any color? I'm like, yeah, any color. Throw a color at me. I've got it. And they're like, what if I said I like bright red? I'm like, yes, I have bright red. And like, I swear this person was testing me. They were literally throwing weird colors out at me. And I'm like, I have that. Oh, I like pink, but I want to see different. I'm like, what pink? I have 7 shades of pink.
That's awesome. And I have so many like lining materials, different waterproof canvases that I've purchased to try to see like, what do I like? What do I prefer? As we all do as newer bag makers and, newer to the selling world. And so that's kind of where I'm at too, where it's like, I'll pick from the leftovers because I have a selection that I need to use up.
Yeah.
And then once those are gone, then
then you can go and
It
yeah.
will be the battle of the fast fingers between us. And I hate to break it to you, but it's gonna be me.
Oh, I am actually I get distracted really easily.
I know.
But like this is and like that's what we like when we talk about supplies. I I don't want to say I cringe because I don't want to come across like I'm judging or anything. But like one of the biggest things that I think is my selling difference when I sell something is I harp on, and I say I harp on about the fact that everything I use for all of my linings is waterproof because that, in all honesty, if you're watching this and your competition, I know we say when no one is a competition, but if you're watching this and your competition isn't watching this and you are using waterproof fabric and they are not, it is such a huge selling core card. Like I have so many customers that go on and on about how, oh my God, this is all waterproof. This is all waterproof. At the market that I did last weekend, I actually had someone. So I said, like, I sold 2 bags. One was a clutch, and they actually picked up 2 clutches side by side, and they were trying to decide between the 2 clutches. One I made a long time ago, one I've made recently. The one I made semi recently is all lined with sophisticated supplies. The one that was made before, it was lined with so before supplies launched, I used PVC backed waterproof canvas. So for all my linings, but for pockets, I just used whatever cheap canvas I could find at Spotlight canvas, so I didn't have to interface because I know some people use cotton woven for pockets, but I can't let myself go there. I just can't like yeah, I can't. So I used yeah. And they're like, oh, okay. And they were feeling it. And they're like, oh, and I was like, oh, yeah, I use waterproof lining only. Oh, actually, sorry, that one, the pocket isn't waterproof because I feel like if I say everything's waterproof, I don't want her to spill water in the pocket and be like, she lied. So I was like, oh, the pocket isn't, but, and then she actually chose, maybe it was something else, but she did choose the one that was fully waterproof over the one that was half
mostly
waterproof.
Yeah.
So it is, yeah. And maybe it is my market. Like I said, like I seem to sell to people that are very similar to me. So I do sell to a lot of like young mums as well. So we spill a lot of stuff. Or our kids spill a lot of stuff.
Maybe I was like, do you spill a lot of stuff or is it the kids spill a lot of stuff?
Yeah. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to. Oh, who cares? You guys know me well enough. I can admit this. Savannah's toilet training at the moment. Savannah, my 2-year-old. So when Kian toilet trained, it was back when Savannah was still in diapers. So I always had little wet bags with me. I don't carry wet bags around with me anymore. Like it's just, I don't have them. So the other day, Savannah soiled her underpants. And we were at the shops. I didn't have a change of clothes. I was bad mom moment, right? Raced to Kmart, buy her a new set of clothes, new set of underwear. And I was like, what do I do with her dirty underwear and dirty clothes? Like, I'm not going to throw it in the bin. I just put it in the side pocket of my belt because it was lined with twill. And I'm like, if it's lined with twill, it's waterproof. And then I go home, I just wipe it. It's fine. Jassie's probably sitting there like, you did
horrified. Oh my God. How do you, I mean, granted, I only have one little, I don't have multiples, and he's not toilet training yet. But I just like, how do you leave the house without even like a Ziploc bag or like, no, okay. So seriously, every bag that I use for a diaper bag, not only do I have PUL wet bags because I also cloth diaper, but I have like stashes of like Ziploc bags and other plastic bags, like spread throughout the diaper bag for case, like just in case I forget a wet bag.
I think that's the difference between like second time mom and first time mom. Like when
I forget about them all the time.
Yeah, like, I just like whatever. I don't think I've brought a diaper bag out with me anywhere for a long time because Savannah's now at that age where, well, not at that age, like she's so old, but like I'll change her diaper before we leave the house. And then like, I know we're only gone for 2-3 hours, so I don't really need to bring a diaper with me. So I don't.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, we don't. We don't bring the diaper bag so many places either. But again, Ethan's not toilet training yet, so
Yeah.
a little bit different.
Hold it off as long as possible. But I think
Okay.
I think we should probably like start wrapping this up. This has been
Yes.
3.5 hours. I don't even want to know what time it is for you over there, but like
10:50.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, it's past my bedtime, but it's not past yours yet.
No, in fact, I need to check to see if my partner's still awake.
And I actually have to sew. Today's my sewing day. I just got distracted. Like talking with you guys is just so much fun. I'm like, I can't believe we've been on here. I said to Nikki, like, oh, just be like an hour or two. We'll be fine.
No, I knew better.
But there's still 9 of you here. So before we jump off, anyone has any questions that we've not covered? I know we've talked in circles a lot, but I think we've talked about a lot of like the pricing side of things, like the supply side of things, the display side of things. So if there's anything we haven't covered, ask us now or forever hold your peace. Or ask me later, message me,
Yeah,
comment me. Yeah, I'm around. I'm never hidden. I'm not famous enough to hide. Like, Jassie's running off to pick up Charlotte, so Jassie's gone too. So now we can actually trash talk Jassie. No. Do you often go live on Fridays, Alison? Yes. So Friday is my live day when I can. I do want to do it a lot more moving forward. So I do like to go live on Fridays because Friday is my only kid-free day. So Friday is the only day I don't have kids, and when I don't have kids, that's when I can come on and not have them distract me every 5 minutes. So Friday is my day. If you guys have anything you want me to talk about, leave me comments, let me know, and I will happily talk about them. And oh yeah, there's a Thanksgiving giveaway over in Sophisticated Craft if anyone wants it. And Darlene's going to rewatch the first hour. I think the first hour was our most productive. So yeah, if you're going to watch anything, watch the first hour.
It was more structured. A little bit more structured.
But yeah, so yeah, anything you guys want me to talk about, I'm happy to talk about. I will probably go back to sewing again soon, and sewing and chatting at the same time. I think I'm starting to get used to being able to do that. But yeah, I've got orders to get done. I have to pick the kids up in an hour and a half.
Someone like a mad woman.
It's never ending. It's never ending.
It will. Christmas will be here before you know it, which is also
it's so close. And that's what I have to keep reminding me. This is my final rush. My orders have slowed down, and that's I'm talking about orders again. Like I've been saying this to Jassy and Nikki, like Christmas rush only goes for so long. And like I've said this to Nikki before, once December hits, it's quiet. So like I have to take everything I can now, because once 1st December, people stop.
Insurance. No, we did not, but that's a good one.
Yeah, let's talk about that quickly as well, because that is a fun one.
Or not.
So in the US, you guys are a whole different ball game. Over here in Australia, Alison, if you are looking at insurances, I'm not affiliated, do your own research, yada, 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 all those disclaimers. Amy, AAMI, Amy Insurance has a really good, well, for what I found anyway, insurance for small businesses and small markets, because they have like hi Lisa, thank you for joining us. They have a markets insurance for small businesses. So I can't remember off the top of my head how much it was, but it's like, I want to say like $150 or something like that. And it covers up to $10 million of product liability, public liability insurance. So it really depends on my first year of business. I didn't have product liability at all. I only did public liability insurance. That was a risk, I know, that I made on my own, like thinking about risks and rewards, because in my head, and someone will prove me wrong someday, but in my head, I couldn't understand how someone could seriously injure themselves from a bag that I've made. So
Do not
because that's
understand the stupidity of people, or do not underestimate the stupidity of people.
I know. I think that's where I have to. That's where maybe I'm giving people too much credit. But I took the risk to not do product liability. I regret it a little bit now. I wish I did do it. Not that anything bad happened. Like, I guess that's the thing with any insurance, right? You buy it hoping nothing bad happens, but also if something bad happens, you're covered.
Yeah.
This year, I do have product liability. The reason I have product liability is because I'm about to go into a consignment store. So going into the consignment store, they were really adamant that I have to have product liability. All the markets that I've ever done only want public liability. So, and Amy offers one that is product and public liability all in one. And so it was just simple. It wasn't too expensive. I know in the US, like I was talking to Jen once from the other mod from Sophisticated Craft, and the amount of stuff that was brought up as part of insurance, I was just like, this is too confusing for me.
Oh,
So
no, there's two insurance companies that focus on small businesses. Act Insurance focuses on crafters and makers. And then there's Hiscox or Hiscox, Hiscox. They are small business, but they also will offer like market insurance. So like if you just need insurance to cover for the weekend, those two are great for small businesses, but they also offer like continuous coverage. So you can purchase per year or 6 months.
And it is hard to navigate, Alison. I think for us in Australia, and I say this like touch wood, fingers crossed, everything. I think as a nation, we're not quite as litigious as the US. I don't want to add yet. I want to say like full stop. I want to hope that that's how it stays. So I think for us, it's a little bit of a safer, if you can't afford to and you can't, maybe you can get away with it. But of course, like I say this and like my cat wasn't insured. I didn't have pet insurance for my cat. And I ended up with the $2,000 vet bill because I didn't pay a $250 insurance, you know? So it's like, yeah, it's juggling that risk and reward, right? I think if you do markets or if you plan on doing markets, most markets will tell you whether they want a 10 million liability or 20 million public liability. In my experience, most have only wanted the 10 million. Very rarely have I seen a $20 million one. The only time I've seen 20 million public liability required is a big shopping center near us, Erin Fair. They want 20 million. If you're just starting out and you don't know if you'll do a lot of markets, because Alison, I know you're in Byron. I don't know if the market scene's as hard to get into as it is here on the Central Coast. I've applied to, like Nikki talked about, she's applied for 2, she's waitlisted on 1. I don't know if I've even told you this. I've applied for like, I want to say like 15 markets here on the Central Coast, and I've been approved for 2 lots of them.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get into here. I don't want to say the maker world is very cliquey here on the coast, but a lot of people have been makers for a long time. They all know each other. So it's hard for a newbie to come in. Yeah.
It is. It's the same thing here
and so like one of the things I really struggled with when I first started and I wanted to start doing markets was I was applying for markets and they would ask me, do you have public liability? And no, I do not. And I would say that. I say, no, I do not. But if I am approved for the market, I will go buy it, because I didn't want to buy public liability insurance today and have it start today and then I not need it for 6 months, right? Like that seems silly. Especially like I don't have people coming to my sewing studio. So why would I need public? I don't interact with the public. This is me. Yeah. So that was something to bear in mind. If that's not a worry and you can, just afford to, and you're going to get into markets, definitely get the public liability, because all markets want public liability. There's one case on the Central Coast. There's one market organizer here where she is able to provide market insurance. So I've done a few markets with her. I've spoken to her in depth. So there are some organizers where they have an extended warranty that they could extend to other store holders. So that's something to look out for as well. If you're just wanting to start and you just want to do 1 or 2 and you don't want to outlay that like $150, $200 or whatever it is. I think Amy also did single day insurance, but I worked out the single day insurance wasn't worth it if you were doing more than 2 markets in a year. So, yeah. Sorry, you can't ask a simple question. You ask a simple question, I give you a long-winded answer. But yeah, so that's why are there more eyeballs again? People are joining in again. Stop joining in. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I swear. No.
You need
But
to
any
start
other
something
questions?
and
I thought I was so smart. Like I had to run to the toilet earlier because the first live I did, I didn't have any water and I was messaging Nikki afterwards. I'm like, Nikki, I'm about to die. I am so thirsty. So she's like, no, from now on, Sam, every live you have water next to you. So that's what I did. I bought water with me. I drank it all, had to go to the toilet, and I'm still like, what do I do now? But no, that was really fun. I love doing these lives. I love talking to you guys. Like I've said, I'm an open book. I'm happy for you guys to talk to me. If you have just found me just from this live purely, feel free to comment, message, like, subscribe, all of those things. Nikki also runs Resin Melody, so follow her channel too. Like, subscribe, all of that jazz. If you have questions, comment in the comments as well. And Alison just bought her first sophisticated order. Yay! But if you know us from the Facebook world and you are not part of Sophisticated Craft, I am not like, I do other stuff, not just Sophisticated Craft. It's just that's where I'm the most active. So jump in, find me on there. That's the easiest way to find me, in all honesty. I do post elsewhere. It's just that's where I'm probably the most active. And send me messages. I genuinely do not mind. I don't want to say I have so much time in the day because I don't, but I have time for people that make time for me. And you guys have made time for me. Like, it's that easy. I have one of the ladies that I've been speaking to for a while, Jenny. She's down in Victoria and she like messages me bag making questions all the time. And she's like, oh, she's saying to me yesterday, thank you so much. And I'm like, don't be silly. Like, I've never been an expert in anything in my life. So the fact that you guys think I am good enough for you guys to ask me for advice, it's like, boom, my head, you know? Like, I love it. I love it. No, well, I mean, genuinely.
That's how you make friends in the community, right? I mean, like, I randomly messaged you one day forever ago and here we are. And same thing with like Milena. And you know, that's how you make friends.
Yeah. And then don't message Nikki because she'll send you like memes and stuff all through the night.
I will only send you things that remind me of you.
Which is a lot.
Now imagine how much I don't send.
No, but it is amazing. It has been so good being here. But genuinely, questions, I can't talk for Nikki, but my inbox is always open. If I don't respond, it's not because I don't want to talk to you. I've probably just been distracted. Feel free to nudge me again if I don't respond because I get distracted. Yeah, I leave Nikki on red all the time.
Yes, you do.
Sometimes I'll give you like a quick little reaction to be like, yeah, I saw you. Bye.
Not good.
No, but okay, we are actually going. I think we've given us enough time. No one has any more questions, so we're going to run away. So thank you so much for joining us. And it's been so much fun. Sam from Made by Erillant, Nikki from Resin Melody, and subscribe, like, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.